Hey, we're live. Woo!
Hey,
It is October 18th, 2017. Yes. Yeah, it is. All right. And yeah, this is the first ever Alaboom after I had lasers in my eyes. So, how's everybody doing?
All right. How are you doing? You're the one that had lasers in your eyes.
I'll tell the story here in a little bit, but I'm gonna put some eye drops in actually, so you can watch me do this.
That'll be exciting television.
riveting.
You're riveting.
Timestamp this.
Yeah.
Don't miss. Don't screw it up.
Today's Alaboom is brought to you by Bausch & Lomb. Bausch & Lomb for all your eye care needs.
This is
Bausch & Lomb.
actually, these are Centane liquid artificial tears is what they're called. These aren't the ones that are medicated.
Come on, I'll kick you in the nuts and make you cry for real. That'll work.
I think there was a stripper named Centane at the local Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Centane.
No, these are like just they say you should, because well, I can go into. You guys want to hear the story right away? I can just tell the story right away.
Yeah, we want to hear a story about them.
Do we have our tens of viewers on yet?
All right. Well,
3 are watching now. Maybe you should wait.
All right, I'll wait.
5 watching now.
You got 4. It can't be one of you guys though. That's all.
Well, one of them's me. So.
And one of them is me.
So yeah, there's one. It's Paul. Hi, Paul.
Well, hey, Paul. Peter said that he'd be here as soon as he's got to make sure his wife is comfy before he shows up. She like broke her arm or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's awful. Forrest, what are you gonna do if your wife breaks her arm while you're in Spiel?
I'm probably gonna keep interviewing people and drinking beer.
That's love right there.
No, I'll take care of it when I get home. I mean, but we can't afford for me to just fly back. That's just impractical.
I don't know. Anybody play anything new? I mean, just out of curiosity.
I hadn't played anything new or old until tonight for a month. I had my first game night in a month a while ago.
Yeah.
So, and I played mostly Gen Con releases.
Cool. Anything? What's Gen Con releases?
Just Downforce, Stop Thief, and then Century Spice Road. It was a light night.
Oh, I mean, all 3 of those are good games, though.
Yeah, they are. Stop Thief is more fun than I thought it would be. Even though it wasn't quite the nostalgia from my childhood that made me buy it, it was enjoyable. It was a good time.
Yeah.
And Downforce is amazing. Downforce is awesome.
Yeah, it's a good game.
I think Stop Thief's only going to get better too. Like I'm excited for when they release the co-op and the 1 versus all, because I see those spots on the app.
Jojo Shavadu is here.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
After a long hiatus.
Oh, I've been so into other things, I guess.
Fair enough. Ooh, you just texted me.
Wasn't me.
No, it wasn't. No, what was I gonna say? I was. Well, I suppose I should just I should get the commercial out of the way. Downfall is now live on Kickstarter. We have funded. We're very close to second stretch goal being unlocked. I think we need like 1,500 more bucks. So, yeah, we're getting some good reaction to this, and we're pretty excited about it. And yeah, so if you haven't played, if you haven't heard about Downfall is a 4X game in a post-apocalyptic universe where 99% of the world has been destroyed, and you are trying to survive at both the game and the other people playing will work against you in trying to do you in. So, what was that? So we're pretty excited about that. So go check out that on Kickstarter, Downfall. Get your deluxeified version while you still can. I've already gotten my my requisite. Can I pledge for a deluxe version of Yokohama with this? Yeah. No.
So you're saying there's a chance?
No. Yeah,
So-
we just have this. We have this vault full of them that we're just waiting to open and hand out.
I backed the Deluxified for this. I'm not sure it's my kind of game, but if I don't like it, with it being the Deluxified, some yahoo that didn't back it will be crying for it.
Did you get the big tiles?
Well, no, because it was $90 shipping.
It's not $90 shipping. That got
It was what I was pledging, but it's not now. That's great.
I will
They
say
can
when
set
it comes to terms of exclusivity in their Kickstarters, I would say Tasty Minstrel is the new Cool Mini or Not, because Cool Mini or Not has really opened that up for people outside of the Kickstarter. And TMG, if you don't back it, it's really hard to get a copy.
They
Yeah,
sell them, but they run out quickly.
Yeah, it's like conventions only, and then even then limited, so you better be lucky.
never say never. I mean, there might be a time in the future where we might do something. I mean, it's definitely something we discuss internally. But
I'm saying never.
what?
Never.
When demand reaches a point where it is financially feasible, I'm sure Michael will consider it because he's not dumb.
Well, I know for a fact. I can pretty much guarantee that Deluxe Orleans will never come around again, because that
Make up your
That
mind. Never say never. And now you're saying never. What the hell?
that
is
one,
going
that
on?
one. I mean, I would be stunned if that one did. I mean, just because if you look at the Kickstarter campaign for Orleans, it says that this will never be made again, and I think we've like kind of purposely been a little cagey after that one. You know, just to, like, say that, you know, we made sure not to use that terminology, that it would never be printed again. You know, it's still very likely that it maybe never will, but who knows? You know, I
I've
mean,
also heard that you don't make games in square boxes, but
yeah.
I did not back the giant size because I don't know that I needed that.
I did.
Good, thank you.
I did.
Joe,
Because I've played enough games on hexagon tiles with a bunch of things and stuff, and I know based on deluxeification in the past that you're going to probably need to have those big tiles so it's not all cluttered.
So what
Yeah.
I think I'll do is I'm going to watch the campaign. I'm going to see which version is highest in demand, and that's the one I should stick with a game I'm not sure if I want.
Well, I mean, if you're going to go that route, I mean, ultimately, like, when you're selling it, people are probably going to say, "Oh, do you have?" I mean, you're going to have.
It's probably
Because
going to be switch it to the giant ones.
Yeah, you get both sizes. It isn't like you only get one, and that's the
No,
other
then,
thing
yeah,
too.
that's a better go then.
Yeah, I mean, like the other thing is that they you know, like we've got unlocked the first stretch goal, and now the cardboard pieces that were going to be your survivors are now going to be wood with stickers, and of course people are like, I don't like stickering, but we're still including the cardboard tokens with it. So if you don't want to bother with stickering the wooden people, you don't have to. You can just use the cardboard tokens. You know, that's we want to make sure people can play the game they want to, and if they don't want to bother with the stickers, and I understand. I mean, I don't know who here has stickered a bunch of woodblock war games. I know I have.
Not that, but I stickered Belfort.
Well, this one has 102 of those. That's the actual sticker.
Speaking of having both, see, I still have my punch boards from Orleans. I have the ones that come with the game that everyone gets.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
went to Big Map.
yeah, there you go. And thank you, sir.
2-1 Big Map to regular Deluxified, by the way.
All right, so here I'll tell the story about getting my Groupon. So as we all made a joke about the fact that I used a Groupon for my laser eye surgery. So it was one of those things where it was like I could have gotten it done like 2 weeks ago, but it was like really quick and I didn't have time for it, and it was just bad timing because it was like right around both my anniversary and my my son's birthday. So I was just like, all right, so fine. So I had an appointment for Tuesday, and they had me come in on the Monday before just to recheck my eyes, just like, just they have all these like super huge like things that like basically take all the pictures of your eye and take like they try to make sure they know what you have and everything like that. And then I did another eye test, and they're like, all right, it's like we look for consistency, and we got some consistent readings now, so we feel comfortable in what we'll do tomorrow. So apparently a lot of these places, they don't have like a local physician. They just a guy that, or a girl for that matter, that's like a laser eye surgeon who lives somewhere else, but they fly them in to these areas, and they come in, and then they do their things, and they fly out, and then they go to another place and they fly in. So the guy that this Dr. Miller guy, he lives in Texas, and so like he flew in, and it was like, okay, so I sat down, and I was getting I talked to all my friends, and I had one friend who got what's called PRK surgery, and I had everybody else that I knew had LASIK done. And so, and the difference between PRK and LASIK is LASIK, they like actually like they put they like, who's seen the movie Clockwork Orange? Almost everybody, I'm assuming. Like when they hold open Alex's eyes and they put the drops in, so he has to watch the horrible movies or whatever. So like they do that with LASIK. They hold your eye way open, and they do that for PRK too. But with LASIK, they hold it way open, and then they put this thing down, and then they actually apply suction, so it actually kind of pulls your eye up a little bit, and then on the old days, it used to be like basically like a razor blade that just would slice the top of the eye off, and then they would peel it back, and then the laser would do its thing, and they fold it back. Now they actually use a laser to do it. They just laser to cut it up the tip, and then they fold back the top of the eye. They do what they have to do to correct your vision, and then they put it back. And PRK, what they do is they still hold your eye open because they don't want you closing your eye, obviously. So they do something so you can't close your eye. And then but it's not nearly as intensive. And then what they do is they have like a little like metal circle that they put over basically the where your eye is, where your pupil is and everything. And then they actually like it's like they scrape the cornea of your eye to like basically the correction of what your glasses are, what your contacts are. So I thought I was getting LASIK, and with PRK, what happens is that it ultimately, more like surgeons say you should get PRK because it's like if you're in the military, they make you get PRK because there's less chances of a lot of the different issues, and ultimately it's shown to have better results. I mean, LASIK is still right along with it, but like they can just get, on average, they can get better results with PRK. This thing that sucks about PRK is that it takes longer for it to heal. So instead of having like a slice, you have a scrape, and so it takes a few weeks to heal, and it just takes a long time. And plus, you kind of go through this roller coaster of your eyes are really good, and then your eyes go bad again, then your eyes go good, and your eyes go bad again, and eventually your eyes just get good. And as you heal, they just get better and better. So I thought I was getting LASIK. I was like, okay, fine, I'm getting LASIK. And so I got there, and then I was sitting there, and they were like, and the lady came in and said, Lance, I need to talk to you. And I was like, all right, fine. And so I came in, and they said, well, here's the deal. You were going to get LASIK, but your eye is too flat. We have to give you PRK. And I was like, well, it's like, well, why is that? And they kind of went through, and they said, and because of the way your eyes are, there's a chance that you might have these side effects. And they're kind of going through all these different side effects, like seeing halos, or like at night, or starbursts, or things like that, or just like seeing things that might not look great. And I was like, this sucks. I don't want. I was like, I don't. I was like, all of a sudden, I was already anxious to have it done, and I was just like, this sounds awful. And then and I was like, you know what, I need to talk to like the doctor. And they're like, okay, we totally understand. And so then they went and they got the doctor, and he comes in, and this guy was like totally cool. He was just like, hey, how you doing? Introduced himself, and he was just like, so here's the deal. And he kind of said, and I said, okay, well, what are my chances of having one of these side effects? And he's 100%. I was like, well, why would I get it done then? And he's like, because there's a chance you won't have it. I was like, well, you just told me it was 100%. And he's like, yeah, I know. I have to tell you it's 100%, so you can't sue me. But he's like, it's like, but there's a chance you won't have it done. And I was like,
Common Core math makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, and then so I ended up talking to this guy for nearly an hour because I was just like, I was trying to pin him down to something, and I was like holding up everybody else. There was like 12 people that were going to get this procedure done, and I was like, if I'm holding you up, man, I can come back another day. And he's like, no. He said, I'm here. I'm here to talk to you for 1 minute or 1 hour, whatever it takes to get you to the point where you are comfortable with your decision. You and I are going to talk. And so he was telling me stories about his life and these things and everything. He, like, this guy, he had like he dated Carol Alt for a while. He lived with like Bobby Benton. He dated Bobby Benton, like the 85 Playboy Playmate of the Year for a couple of years. Like he normally like goes and like he goes scuba diving with sharks all the time. Like he said, a month ago I was in Africa walking next to lions on the savannah. Just because he's like, I get one trip, I'm going to make sure I do everything I possibly can. He was an actor on soap opera. He was on One Life to Live when he was younger. He was on Broadway. He was just kind of going off, and I was like, dude, you need to write a book. And he's just like, well, I have. I've written a few books, and I was just like, oh, crazy. And so I was sitting there, and so. And he's like, we live in a litigious society, so I can't. I need you to sign these forms saying that you recognize the fact that you could probably have these problems. And I was like, if the roles were reversed, would you get the surgery done? He's like, yes, I would. I said, when I get done, am I going to be happy? He's like, I'm going to make you happy. I was like, but there's still 100% chance you're going to have these side effects. I was like, you really think I'm going to have these side effects? No, I don't. But there's 100% chance you're going to have these side effects. And so finally I said, okay, fine. And I didn't want to get the PRK, but I was like, fine, whatever. If that's the way it's got to be, that's the way it's got to be. So I went and sit down, and like there's just like, and like we walk out of this room and we're looking over like the 12 people sitting in this waiting room. They're just glaring at me, and I was like, hey guys, let's go. And so I go in. And so I sit down, and I got like my drugs and everything that I have to have with me, and I'm sitting there, and he's like, you're third. And I was like, all right, that's cool. And so then he calls me in, and like I go in, and like we just come into this room, and it's just like, okay, so then there's just basically this cot that you lay down on. And they, for some reason, they give you this little pillow that goes underneath your knees, so they're raised up a little bit. I'm guessing for blood flow or something, I don't know. And then you lay down, you put your head on this like little pillow, like this little like circle pillow that they kind of raise and lower as they need to. And then like they're like, are you cold? No, I'm not cold. They put a blanket over me anyway. I was like, do you want a pillow to hold on to? No, I don't need one. They hand me this pillow to hold on to anyway. I'm like, well, fine, whatever. And so you're lying there, and I'm sitting there, and the other thing about the one thing I decided I actually did like about PRK is the difference between one of the differences between PRK and LASIK is when they actually go in to go LASIK, when they slice the top of your eye off for the flap, you go blind. Like you can't see because they've removed the lens that you see through. So for a few seconds during the procedure, you're blind, and I was like, that sounds awful. I was just like, what a horrific moment, But with PRK, they don't do that because they're just polishing the top of your eye. So I guess in the end, I was kind of actually happy about that. So I went in, and here's the weird thing is, so he's like, okay, we're gonna, and he's like, he's doing my right eye first. And he's like, your right eye won't hurt at all. He said, your left eye will hurt. And I was like, why is that? And he's like, because you have no idea what this is going to be like with your right eye. But then when your left eye starts, your mind's going to trick you into thinking this is something bad. And I was like, that seems really weird. And so he puts it, so they put a thing in to hold your eye open, and then they lower this thing down, and then he's like, and then so the first thing I notice is like he's like squirting all the stuff in my eyes, and it's pooling out, and they actually put like these cotton swabs by your ears so you don't get any fluid in your ear. And it's really weird. It's like he's almost just like, taking this giant bottle of water, just basically, I'm sure, to clean it. And then he puts this metal ring, I'm guessing it was metal, I didn't see it, over the top of the eye so it's exposed. And then there's this, because your eye is completely numbed, you don't really notice this. It's like, the only thing I can describe is he put this, and I don't think it couldn't have been like a cotton swab or something, but he's basically just cleaning the top of my eye, and I can feel this thing on top of my eye just going back and forth. Like every part of my body saying this is wrong. Like nobody should be touching your eye like this, but he's just does it, But of course they also give you Valium, so you're just totally like, whatever. Hey, sounds cool. Let's do this. So he gets done. And he says, and he had told me it was going to be 9 seconds for my right eye and 7 seconds for my left eye. And so he put it down, and then this thing comes down, and he said, I said, where do I look? And he's like, wherever you're looking right now, it's perfect. Just keep doing it. And I was like, all right. So, and then he's like, okay, here we go. And there's just this beep. That's all there was. And then, the lady that was helping him just started counting down. She's like, 9 seconds. Then she was like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Now, when she said 9 seconds, I heard that beep. That's when I first smelled burning eye, and then I just decided I wasn't going to breathe anymore. Now, everybody always asks you, what does it smell like? And I said the best way I can describe it is it like, if you've ever been in like a hair salon and you smell burning hair, if you know what that smell is. So imagine if somebody, and one of my friends said, I asked him, what does it smell like? And he said, bad campfire was what he said. And I was like, he's like, and so the best way I can describe it is like, I can remember like when I first moved into my house, I remember I was in the backyard mowing or something, and I just smelled really bad burning plastic, like everywhere. And I was like, what is going on? Am I having like a stroke or something? Am I having I'm having like this weird smell. And I went to my front yard, and like a block away, there was a house just engulfed in flames. And it was the plastic siding of the house burning and melting. And then that's all you could smell. And I've always remembered that smell. So imagine if you had like a big sheet of plastic, and then you wrapped it with human hair and you threw it in a bonfire. And that's what it smells like. It's kind of like this weird plastic, ozone-y hair smell, burning hair smell. But as soon as I smelled it, I just stopped breathing. I was like, I don't want to smell that anymore. I was like, oh, I just held my breath, and they got done. And then they switched over to the other eye, and he's like, we're done. And and then he cleaned off that eye, switched to the other eye, and then they were like 7 seconds. I heard the beep. I smelled the smell for like a half a second. I stopped breathing. Done. And then they said, all right, sit up. And like they kind of helped me up, and there's this clock on the wall that I couldn't read without they said, look at the clock. And I looked at the clock, I couldn't read it. And then I sat up and I could read the clock. And it was like, so I went from I had like 2400 vision, and like right now I've got like 2050. And then as my eyes heal, it'll just get to 2020. And I just got to wait like 2-3 weeks, and it's just a slow process. Man, it's weird. I bet if you live with glasses all your life, like me, because I've had glasses like since I was in 3rd grade. It's pretty crazy. And I don't have any of the weird side effects that he suggested. He's like, do you see any halos or any? I was like, I don't know. It's kind of fuzzy. He's like, it's going to be fuzzy because I just shaved 0.5 millimeter of flesh off each of your eyes. It's going to be fuzzy looking right now. And I was like, so what should I be looking for? He's like, if you can't see anything, then you're not seeing it. And he's like, and so, yeah, so there you go. So now, if go get LASIK or PRK. I guess with PRK, it's like they suggest that, like, if you're in the military, they won't let you get LASIK. They make you get PRK. And also, if you have any kind of a injury or a scrape to your eye that you got, like, PRK actually fixes those, because you'll have these like scars in your eye. The PRK can scrub the scar away too. But yeah. So hopefully I've convinced a few of you to go cash in your Groupon. You can see if there's a laser vision center near you, and you also can never have to buy contacts or glasses again.
I've never bought either one.
But some of us
like wearing glasses. I don't know. I just enjoy wearing glasses.
You still can, though. You can just buy a pair of frames, and I don't know, man. I just I don't know, the idea of like when I woke up the next morning, I didn't have to fumble around to find my glasses, so I could shuffle off to the and let the dogs out in the morning. I was just kind of like, this is amazing. Like looking out at my yard without glasses on.
Like nothing that you'd miss until you know that you were missing it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, plus there's the like the weird side thing with glasses where you have no, like, that little spot that you don't have the peripheral vision on. I suppose there's that. I don't know, man. It's like when your kid gets older and you want to go swimming and like you want to be able to like see them. That's like a big thing for me. I don't know.
You know what? That's a good point. Swimming is the worst part about glasses.
Well, I have a lake cabin, right? And like I like going to the lake cabin, but whenever I go to the lake cabin, it's like, I really want to go out on the boat, or I want to go fishing, or I want to like get on the inner tube and sit in there with my son and go, it's one of those things where it's like, it's such a pain, it's just plus the idea of like wearing sunglasses whenever I want to now, instead of having to like wear my prescription sunglasses, make sure I get those. And I don't know.
Wow. So we've now introduced the world to Lance with sunglasses. That's going to be a sight.
I know. I only wear sunglasses either if I'm playing serious poker or if it's like, or if I'm fishing, because when you're fishing, you can like it cuts down the glare from the cuts on the glare that you get from the water. And so you can actually have better vision as far as like watching your bait and things like that. So
I wear my sunglasses at night.
Thank you, Corey.
So I can. But yeah, I don't know. But I how old are you again, Wiggy?
28.
Yeah, I mean, and how long have you had glasses for?
Since I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I also kind of are at that spot or whatever where it was like, it just was one of those things where it was like about a year or two ago, I said, about a year or so ago, I just I was just like, I really want this done. Like, I actually talked to Tom Vassell about it because he had got it done, and I ran into him at Dice Tower Con, and I noticed he wasn't wearing glasses, and I was like, and then we kind of just he talked about it for a little while, and he was just like, and one of the things he said is like, I go to the beach all the time with my kids, and it's just being able to go there and not having to like worry about being able to see them while they're having fun is just kind of like
the swimming thing. Actually, once you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, that's literally a selling point. But I probably would like get LASIK done and still wear glasses. I just enjoy wearing glasses. It's weird, but
like hipster glasses with no frames.
No, I just get like plastic put in them or whatever. I wouldn't be stupid, but like I don't like the way I look without glasses. But
yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, like it was weird because I was like the whole idea of getting it done and like, oh my gosh, oh, what if it gets screwed up? And it's like there's that anxiety. I mean, because it's your freaking eyes, right? There's that, and that you eventually like get to that point where you just kind of have to, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I mean, I remember as I was in the room getting ready to lay down, I was like, I could still walk out. I was just like, and then as soon as I was lying down and they had to think, okay, I guess we're okay. Yeah, we're doing this. We're doing this. Oh, that's burning eye. And you'll never forget the smell. Let me tell you that. You'll never forget the smell of burning eye. It's
Does it smell similar like burning hair? The same type of gross.
Well, as I said, weren't you hearing? I said it was like it was like burning hair and plastic, kind of like an ozony, like burning hair smell, if you will.
Because nothing smells like burnt hair most of the time. It's just you recognize the smell instantly from anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where, but it's over, it's done with. Now I just gotta like get the I'm gonna have to get the just get through this next like 2 weeks or so, right? It's just that's what they say about like with PRK, because with LASIK it's like bam, your eyes are 20/20. I mean, maybe 20/30. Whereas with PRK, because they actually put because of the fact that they shave the top of your eye off, they actually put these contacts in that are like called Band-Aid contacts. So I'm wearing contacts right now, and they are pretty much just stuck to your eyes. You could, if you really wanted to, move them, but it's a bad idea to do that. And then so on Monday I go in and they remove those. And so what happens is over like in 3 days, he said your vision's going to be awesome, because like the cells of your eye are going to regrow, and they're going to fill up that spot. And then what's going to happen after 3 days is your eyes are going to get blurry again, because all of the like the stuff that normally your eye gets rid of off the top of your eye is like going to start clouding up, and it's going to start filling in all those cells, and it can't get rid of them because we have this contact over your eye. But he said, but it's a good thing because those things are going to be in there, and they're going to be cleaning up the gunk, and they're going to be like healing the eye more and fortifying it. So then they're going to peel that thing off on Monday, and then over the next 2 or 3 days, then the cloudiness is going to go away again. And he says PRK just stinks, but my doctor said, he said I like to he's like, so I said, well, I get 20/20. He's like, I shoot for better, is what he said. And like, he had like, I said, how many of these have you done? He's like tens of thousands. And he's like, I'll do probably 340 of these this week. And it's just, but yeah, it was pretty good. But so if you I would like right now my eyes just kind of itch, and that kind of stinks, but I don't know, get through a couple weeks of annoyance, and then the rest of my life I don't have to. And I did monovision too, which is that they make your non-dominant eye good at seeing things close up, and they make your dominant eye good at seeing things far away, and then it pushes off the need for reading glasses or anything like that. For it pushes it back even further, for your age. So yeah, there you go. The miracles of modern medicine. So anybody play any games?
Oh geez. Through the Ages app is freaking awesome.
You said that last time.
I need to open my thing, see if I've been playing any games.
I played Harvest from Tasty Minstrel Games. Product plug.
Oh, what'd you think there, buddy boy?
I thought it was a little too short. I enjoyed it. My wife actually really enjoyed it, but it's just, I mean, you get your engine going, and I wanted a little bit more, which I guess is good. The game left me wanting more. I enjoyed it.
Well, you know what they say about like once your engine is rolling, there's really no point in continuing to play. Because what are you doing then? You're just it's like you know, I mean, when I played Race for the Galaxy, that was like my jam for like 6 months. And when I played that hardcore, like right when you got your engine going was when that game ended, which is exactly when it should end. Because
I would disagree. I think at least 1 or 2 rounds where the thing you built does the thing you meant it to do. Seeing that for just, even if it's just 1 round where I built this thing and it does the thing I want it to do, I find that very satisfying.
well, yeah, you can do one more round, but all it is just, it's, you know,
Yeah.
excuse the language, but it's just, it's masturbatory at that point. I mean, you're just like, you know.
See, I disagree.
Exactly.
I'm
It's
on Joe's
completely. It's
Because-
no. I completely agree with Lance. It's masturbatory. It's very enjoyable to do.
Some people's machines are more powerful than other people's machines. So if you have a slow churning machine that wins you that game, you play that extra round or 2 and you're going a big machine, you can catch up. I don't know.
I've
I
done
would shoot for the moon.
I've done a lot of play testing on Pipeline that's going to be coming out next year, and it's an engine builder with tech trees and stuff like that. And I feel like that one is very much like you get like 2 solid rounds of your thing actually working, and then the game just ends like that. And I always feel very satisfied with that. But
Fair enough.
Either way, thumbs up. I enjoyed it. My wife really enjoyed it a lot.
how fast was it?
I would say 30, 40 minutes, something like that.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. I'm excited to pick that up now. I need more 30-minute games that feel like games in my life.
And the rules were short. I mean, it was a folded up pamphlet, just 1 big page, double-sided, easy to learn. I think a lot of people are like it.
I've gotten in 4 plays of this guy at this point over the last 2 weeks. Gentis.
That is a
by
fantastic game.
Spielworks. I agree. I think it is very, very enjoyable. Let me ask you, Lance, how many games of it have you played?
3.
3? Okay, so we're right around the same place. I have one issue with it, and I want to see what you think. I feel that 80% of your points are going to come from cards, and if you are not playing heavy cards the entire game, you cannot win. I do not feel there is another strategy besides cards. There's no multiple paths to victory. It's cards.
I can see that. It's still fun though. I mean, it's kind of like it's, you know, I guess, yeah. I mean, maybe I'll have to play it again and try to go non-cards and see if I can pull off a win.
Yeah, I'm playing tomorrow night, and my goal is to build like 3 cards max and see what happens.
I think it's one of those things where, well, I remember when I tried as hard as I could to just win a game of Russian railroads using the middle track, and I just couldn't. Like the last 3 games I played, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna because like I had kind of perfected top track and factory track to, like, you know, I could win either way with those, you know, if things like worked out right. And then so I was like, okay, you know, I was like, let's see if this game still has legs, because I really liked Russian railroads. And I tried like 3 consecutive times to win on the middle track, and it just couldn't. It just didn't work. I think the middle track.
Kiev strategy.
What?
The chicken Kiev strategy.
You'll have to educate me on that. I don't remember.
So someone posted this long strategy guy thing called the chicken Kiev strategy on BGG, and literally, I've sat down 3 times to play that game since that strategy came out with people I didn't know, and literally as we're starting the first turn, someone mentioned it, and I was like, crap, I just wish I wasn't even sitting here.
Well, what's the chicken Kiev strategy?
I don't even know what it is, because I don't go read strategy guides. I like to play games on my own, not have people tell me how to play them.
I feel the same way about Puerto Rico.
But it's like literally the guy like wiped the floor with us. There was nothing you could do about it.
That's lame.
Yeah, Russian railroads is also, though, very solitaire, like super, super much so.
Yeah, I haven't played with. I mean, I played it with German Railways. I thought that was good. I haven't played with the. What was that? The third, like.
American Railways.
Yeah, I haven't played any of that yet. I picked it up, but I haven't played anything with it. Has anybody done that?
German Railways. I've played that one a few times.
But what about American?
No, I haven't played it yet.
It's just a sheet of punch board, right? It's like a mini expansion.
It's new boards.
Is it boards? Okay. Nope, haven't played with it. I got rid of Russian Railroads. I felt like the game it didn't do enough for me to be interesting.
You don't do enough for me.
Well, and again, this is just going to be me being stupid, but when I heard in an interview that Lonnie actually designed Russian Railroads to be an 18xx game, and somehow through dozens and dozens of playtesting got that game turned into Russian Railroads, I sure as heck would like to see what that 18xx game would have looked like, because that seems like it would have been a really cool game.
Yeah.
Because I don't see any 18xx anything in Russian Railroads, but to know that that game came out of there, that's pretty cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Now that you're saying that, because there's no real. Yeah, maybe the different locomotives. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Have no clue, but man, I would be really interested to see what that prototype looked like. But yeah, Gentis is good. Very interesting. The timing mechanism is very novel. Gives you a lot to do in the game. But my only thing is right now I feel like there is a strategy, and whoever does that strategy is best. And I enjoy games more when there are multiple paths to victory, and I feel like there is a path to victory in this one, which isn't bad. It's just the way the game is.
Play better.
No, I've won like I think all of my games I've played. It's just it's not that I'm losing, it's that I can't not win if I don't do this one thing.
All right, so Essen's coming up, and I asked everybody to have like have like a list of 5 games that they're excited about.
I have a list of 72.
Well, you got to pick 5.
Actually, no, I have 10.
I have 6.
You got to pick 5.
No, I'm doing 10.
I have 0. Can I have half yours, Anthony?
You have 0.
No, I have 5.
Apparently, Cheech forgot his homework.
I don't know whether to go with mystery game or probably going to be good game.
Ooh, go with probably going to be mystery. Go with mystery.
All right.
Well, can I? I'll shoot. I'll go number 5 on my list, and then like we'll and then everybody else can do the number 5, and then basically let's just do it in a way that like we say our number 5 and we explain why it's a number 5, and then if it doubles up with somebody's like number 3 or number 2 or something later, so be it. That's just the way it works. But you can just offer up your reasons for that at that time. Does that sound fair?
All right.
Where do I go to find this stuff? I don't know where it's at.
Does anyone think that their number 1 is not on anyone's list?
I know mine.
I don't know. I didn't rank them yet.
Well, because yours are going to be like kids games, and we're
my number 1 is definitely on someone's list.
All right, so here's my number 5. My number 5 is Altiplano. For Minor Stockhausen, TLP Games. He's the guy who did a little game called Orleans. You might have heard of it.
Shill.
Shill.
Shut
your mouth.
I hope it's a shill. I'd like to know, actually.
His top 3 are Pioneer Days.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying. It's let's just say TMG has a very good working relationship with DLP Games.
Antipolo Deluxe with real furry llamas.
So Altiplano, it is a bag building game, which I love. I love bag building. It is based in the Andes Mountains. It has a cute little alpaca on the front, which I think it's an alpaca. I don't think it's a llama. It's an alpaca. It's an alpaca, which I think is super cute. Yeah, I mean it's hitting on all cylinders. Everything I've read about it, I am trying desperately to. I know Seth Jaffe made one. And then he was talking about it with me the other day. But we got a ton of cool. It's got a bunch of cool resources, a bunch of cool things going on, and I mean the game just looks super fun. And I mean, like I said, I love that whole process of reaching into the bag and having an idea of what you're getting. I even like, what was that one game, the bag builder,
Puzzle Strike.
No, well I like that one too, but I'm trying to remember.
Automobiles.
No, shush a second. It was like
I'm telling you, bag builders.
The King's Pouch. The King's Pouch. I really like King's Pouch.
Holy shit!
I was also a porno.
I'm trying to help the fucking guy.
But yes, and so I like when first time I played Orleans, I was like, wow, this game is freaking amazing, and I've been kind of like keeping my eye on a good game designer, but with the name Reiner, and wondering when he's going to have another awesome game. And so yeah, so there you go, Altiplano. And I have played Bohemian Villages by him, and I thought that was quite good as well. But it was not the same genre, if you will.
But he wasn't his first game Siberia, and it was another bag builder.
Was Siberia him?
I mean, it's a bag building game from DLP with like drawing workers out of a bag.
Well, that sounds like it would be him. Which is weird because I was not a huge fan of Siberia.
It might have been like Siberia was the test grounds for Orleans.
Yep, Siberia was him. I had no idea. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like his game, right?
Yeah. That's weird. Because I remember I actually had Siberia and I was like, eh. But maybe he's seasoned himself. Let's put it that way. So
I mean, Orleans is great.
Yeah. So yeah, Orleans is great. So that's my number 5. Anthony, give me your number 5.
All right. Well, I'm moving my list around from where I had it because I took my number 3 off because I already have it. So my number 5 is Kalamala from ACD Blackfire. So
and why?
This is a game we talked about it last episode or the episode before. It's a worker placement game where the actions you can take are represented on these little tiles, and they're placed out in this grid, and you actually place your worker between two of them. You get to take both abilities, both actions on both sides, but then your worker stays there. So if I place my worker to do the 2 actions and Forrest comes later and puts his worker there to take the 2 actions, I get to take them again. And then once a certain number of people have played that action, those workers come off the board and they go onto the scoring board and usually score points at that time. I just like that whole being the being in between thing, like Spirium did. But it's not, the standoff, like, I'm going to stay, you're going to, not stay. So it's like, do I want to go take those 2 actions? I really want to take those 2, but, I'm giving Joe a free extra set of actions by doing it. But inevitably, I'm going to have to do it because I need to do those things. So it's who gets there first, who does what first, who decides to do it later. I may choose a time to do it when it really is not going to help Joe to take those 2 actions again. So I'm just fascinated by that whole thing. I mean, it's a really boring subject. It's about producing linen in Florence.
Yeah, well, when I heard about this, you were the first person that mentioned it to me. And I would like to say one thing. I picked up a copy of King's Will by ADC Blackfire. It was just like a total gut purchase at Gen Con. And that's a really fun game. Now, I mean, it's gonna have that. It's just another Euro thing going on a little bit, but I was actually really happy with that one. And but yeah, I didn't know anything about this until you actually told me about it. The Kalamala.
Yeah, if you look at the cover, it's really boring looking.
Oh, it looks like
I love that art style.
Oh, you would, but
It's like oil painting ish.
the mechanism that you said that fascinates me as well. I am at that point where it's just like, even if the rest of the game sucks, it's like that one mechanism might like pull it out of the trash a little bit. Remember the game Ulm from R&R?
Yes.
Like pretty standard Euro, but I loved the action.
I never got to play it.
Yeah, you should play it just because
I was supposed to get a copy, and then I got a box with other games in it, but not that game.
Well, if I ever, I'll check it out at whatever library, and I'll play a game of Ulm with you, just because I really like the action selection system in it. I wish that like the rest of the game was just as awesome as that, and so I'm worried that like this worker placement thing sounds really freaking cool, but I worry that Kalamala might. That might be the only thing about it that's cool.
All right. I'm going to check some. Keep that in the back burner. I'm going to check something while the next person goes.
All right. Keith, give me your number 5.
Number 5. Let's see. I didn't really order these, so I'm going to kind of guess. I'm interested in Loot Island from What's Your Game?
Good choice.
Yeah.
Because I like What's Your Game crap. So I discovered, I played my first What's Your game back just before Origins, I think.
Oh, wow.
And just a little bit before that, when the first one I played was Signore. Right?
Ooh, good choice.
And after that, I picked up Railroad Revolution, which is okay. And then I got Oddville in a math trade at Gen Con. And so I dig their stuff, and I want more of it. So that's why I'm interested in it.
You haven't even played their good stuff yet.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Like, what else? I have to think of what else they have.
Madeira, Zanguo, and Vinos, I would say, are their 3 best.
Right. So I want to play. I want to try Madeira.
Madeira is such a brain burner. It's. Yeah. I mean, it's a brain burner with a ton of dice, which you wouldn't think, but it's just like, because you're like, oh, the dice are so chaotic. But I mean, when I sit down to play Madeira, it's just like it's one of those things where it's like, turn your phone off, and because it's so AP prone. I mean, I remember every single time I play Madeira, I'm always like backtracking all of my ideas of, so if I do this, then I'll have that, then I can do this, then I can do that, then I can do this, then I can do that. But it's so much fun.
Yeah. Madeira features something that I haven't seen in any other game, and I call it action bundling, where I'm going to take this action, but that has like 4 or 5 other things that go along with it. Like, it's not just that action. It's like, later, that means you're going to have to come and do this and that. It's really crazy.
Yeah, I need to try it. I didn't love, like I said, Railroad Revolution was okay. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I really like Signore. So this looks like a lighter game for them again, but it's piratey stuff, and I love piratey crap. So
yeah, it's the small box like Oddville.
Yeah, which was weird because I'm used to them coming out with a bigger box, but
well, Brazil got delayed again.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So that's my number 5, I guess. Hey, I have a question. Is this list what Aldi's bringing us back from Spiel?
Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you what. Aldi, log in.
Taking notes.
Aldi, log in and tell us no. Otherwise, we're holding you to it. So.
Well, he's in the chat, so I'm making sure.
No. He has to be live on video.
He has to tell us no live on video. Or
no live on video, or else, yeah. So
I expect a box.
Screen capture him,
right?
Yeah.
It'll be waiting on me.
So, yeah, he's got a certain amount of time. All right, Forrest, give us your number 5.
My number 5 is Word Domination from Fowers Games, which I imagine, Lance, you can probably tell even more about since you did a video for it.
Yeah.
Area control, spelling. It's by the same people who made Paperback and Burgle Brothers, which I've really been digging. And it's got a spy theme, and I love spelling games, and I love area control. Looks really cool.
Yeah, that one took me by surprise. I was like, oh, and like, but I really enjoyed that, and so did my wife. It was like anytime that you can combine that, and the fact that like I was like, and how are you gonna like hammer in this like this spy theme along with it? But it worked. It was really weird. It was just Yeah, it was a well-made game, and it's one of those things where it's like, look, we made something that not a lot of people know about, or not a lot of people have done that kind of thing, So, I was very very happy with that one. It's been a long time since I played that. Holy cow, like over a year. Good stuff. You got one for us, Wiggy? Your number 5?
Yeah. So number 5, Yeti in my spaghetti. No. My number 5 is Pulsar 2849. So this is coming out by CGE, who traditionally does not put out bad games. And it's also coming out from Vladimir Suchi, who needs to design more games because everything that guy has touched has been incredible. Like, if not very, very, very good to stellar. And this looks like different. So this isn't going to be another Last Will Prodigals Club style game. It's going to be something completely different. Space game, dice, worker placement. So we'll see what happens with it, but I'm really excited for it. Mostly just because of the pedigree of the designer.
I was gonna let somebody else go first with number 4, but since my number 4 is Pulsar 2849 as well, Vladimir Suchi is he's right there as far as my number 1 designer that I love, for all the same reasons you just said. Shipyard is absolutely fantastic. I think Last Will is like one of those games that, like, the first time you play it, you're like, this is just crazy. I mean, yeah, okay, it's Brewster's Millions, basically the game, but it's just fun trying to lose all your money. I think 20th Century is a completely overlooked civilization game. And even League of Six is a lot of fun as well. And these are all games made by him. Two cool stories, and I'll let somebody else go. But 2 cool stories about Vladimir Suchi. I forget. It was at Gen Con, I think. I think it was at Gen Con. I didn't really know many people. It was like, maybe Gen Con 3 or 4 years ago or something. It was at a convention anyway. And I mentioned that I thought that Vladimir was like a really, really good designer. And I guess he speaks almost no English. And because they said, "Oh, do you want to meet him?" And he's here. And I was like, that'd be awesome. I'd love to meet him. And they basically looked over, and there was a guy basically looked like a general laborer, basically taking down boxes and stuff like that, and this kind of looked like a dock worker. And he came over and shook my hand, and that was Vladimir Suchi. I was like, that was crazy. And then I found out later that he is he's like what we would consider like a police detective. Like that's his real job. He's like a fraud / forgery investigator or something. It's like his real life job.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so there you go. He is the unknown Vladimir, I guess, because everybody knows Chavatal. But yeah, that was my number 4, and you stepped all over my touchdown call, so thanks a lot. But I'll be okay. Keith, give me your number 4.
Number 4, I'm going to go with Coaster Park because it looks like stupid fun.
I feel like I'm the only one talking here, but I mean, my problem with Coaster Park is that it looks just like, I don't know. I mean, how much game is there, as I wonder?
No, I think of it as a family game, right? It's not a game night game. It's a play with your kids game. It'll devolve into just building roller coasters.
I understand that, but I mean, my worry, like I said, is how much game is actually there. Other than, I mean, or is it just gonna devolve into how much? I mean, yeah, I could see playing it, but eventually everybody's just gonna say, "What's the coolest thing I can make to roll this marble on?"
Exactly, that's what I want to play.
In which case, then you might as well just go and buy one of those marble kits or whatever that have all the little loops and everything like that, and you can just do that.
I could, but there's some kind of game there. We'll see.
But what the whole thing is, it's going to turn into is you're going to sit there and try to build the coolest coaster you can while you're not playing the game, and then you're going to go, wow, this actually works, this setup. And then when the game comes up, you're going to build exactly that same coaster.
I would if I ever played my games enough.
The description doesn't tell me anything, but I didn't know it was from Scott Holmes either.
You build a 3D roller coaster and roll a marble down it as your roller coaster, and it just looks like stupid fun to me. I don't think it looks like a good game, but I want to play it.
Yeah, it's an honorable mention for me. I thought that looked really cool too.
I mean, I could see myself picking up a copy just so my kids could monkey with it, but I don't ever see myself, playing it seriously. What was I going to say? Okay, so who else hasn't done a number 4? Sorry.
My number 4 is Destination X from Aporta Games. 2 to 10 players, huge player count like I love. And essentially one person is the moderator on the run in a location around the world. And everyone else is trying to find them by asking questions about the location, such as...
where in the world is Destination X?
Bingo. That's what it pretty much feels like. But it's like an educational experience at the same time. You'll be learning about what religion they have, their population, their climates, their exports. Sounds like a really cool game mixed with a good something that I can bring into my classroom and play with the kids, which, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Fair enough. Anthony, what do you got for me? Well, does anybody else care about Destination X?
Never even heard of it.
You?
All right. So, Anthony, what do you got for me?
So my next one is Otis. OTYS. Yes. This is from Pearl Games and Libelud. So this is a first-time designer game, which is something you normally look at and go, oh, wow. But Pearl has this thing of finding first-time designers and really good games coming from them. So Pearl has a great track record. They did Troyes, they did Brussels 1893, they did Deus, Ginkopolis is theirs too, I think.
The long out of print Ginkopolis that everybody wonders, is it ever coming back? Anyway, go ahead.
But so in this game, it takes place in the future, and pretty much everything is underwater. It's like Waterworld. But you have a set of divers that you're going down and trying to recover things that are now underwater. And what makes this thing cool is there is a shared board with actions on it. And then you have divers that go to different depths. And once your diver hits a certain depth, you can take the action that's associated with that depth from the main board. But once you do that and you do your thing, that diver goes back to the surface. He has to go back because he's run out of oxygen. And then the rest of your divers all move down. So it's this manipulation of being able to take all the actions when you want to take them in the order you want to take them. Artwork is really cool looking. I just think this game is fascinating. Now, there's not a lot of information on it, but the little bit there is just has my interest peaked. And the fact that I pretty much have liked everything Pearl has put out that I've played.
Yeah, Bloody Inn was good. Like you said, Troyes was good. Troyes is like one of the best dice placement games.
Yeah.
I remember there's a member of my gaming group that refuses to play that because he gets so angry that other people can take your dice. And I've been trying to explain to him, but they aren't your dice. I mean, you're rolling them, but they aren't yours. That's what you have to. That's what you have to like reconcile yourself with.
No, Le Grandha was theirs too. I forgot about that.
Spielworks, yeah.
So, did everybody get their number 4?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Okay, go then, Wiggy Wiggy.
My number 4 is Nunsfjord, or however you would pronounce that.
Nusfjord.
This is Big Box Uwe Rosenberg, which to me, I feel like the Uwe I really loved was several Big Box Euro games away from today. But I was looking into this one a little bit, and one little caption on the kind of text of the rule book said, you may sell shares in your company to gain income. And I said, and that right there said, okay, so I'm running a company, whatever that company may be, and I have stock in it, and I can sell that stock. So I don't know what that all entails. But if Uwe Rosenberg is going to mess around with partial ownership of stuff, I'm sold. I'll give it a shot. I'm kind of all in on this one. I'm really excited about it.
How do you spell that?
Nusfjord.
NUSFJORD.
NUS what?
Yeah,
NUNS.
NUSFJORD. There's no N in it. NUS. Nusfjord.
As with Agricola and Ora et Labora, Nusfjord has a worker placement mechanism, with each player starting with 3 workers that they place on a center board to trigger certain actions. Whether a player wants to clear a forest on their own board, buy a new cutter, or construct a building, they must place a worker on the appropriate space, which is possible only if room is available for that worker. Money is scarce, and one of the quicker and easier ways to get it is to place shares of your own company on the market. This risky action could be worthwhile because if you succeed in buying these shares yourself, you have usually won money and not suffered any disadvantages. However, if an opponent acquires these shares, then you must allow them to benefit from your hard-earned catches at sea. The village elders might want their own share of your catch as well, especially if you visited them to take certain actions in the village. So if you don't take care, your catch could end up entirely in the hands of others, and your camp will be empty.
And your currency is fish.
Sorry, Ora Labora, this might be my new favorite Euro or Uwe game. We'll see.
It's going to be, okay, Joe, I want to disappoint you a little bit.
Nope.
It's more on the weight of Glass Road than it is Ora Labora.
Man, I get from the look of it, it might be like that, but if you've got shareholding in a game, it makes it a lot heavier than what it is. I mean,
there are games that have shareholding in it that are not that heavy. They got you. They hooked you.
Yeah, and I'm fully willing to let myself be hooked for an Uwe game. I will always.
Uwe means grape.
That looks really good.
I am always willing to be disappointed by him.
Yeah, that one got honorable mention for me. It's a game that I will pick up eventually because it's Norway and that's my heritage. But yeah, I don't know. It looks a little light. I mean, I was really disappointed in Glass Road. I thought I was just, I felt like I was just, I don't know. I felt like I was playing easy mode with Glass Road. It didn't challenge me very much. So
you and me both.
Yeah. And so if I, I don't know, I didn't have the tough decisions I had to make, that kind of thing.
I don't think you're going to like this one then.
Yeah, that's my problem. I just, like I said, I'll own it because it's about Norway. But other than that, it's like I own Here I Stand. I've played it once. I'll probably never play it again, but I'm very Lutheran, so I have to own Here I Stand. So that's the way it works.
Thank God my new game, Chubby Bearded Guys, is coming out soon.
All right. Number 3. Let's just go with Anthony. Number 3.
Oh, okay. So originally my number 3 was Alien Artifacts on my list, but since I already have it, I took it off, moved everything else up. So my number 3 is a game that was announced a few years ago. Then we didn't hear anything about it. Then we heard some more about it. Then we heard nothing about it. It used to have a really stupid name. Like something shipping company. It was
called. Oh, okay, yeah.
This is Transatlantic.
Yes,
the new Mac Gertz game coming. So when this game was first announced, everyone was like, "Oh, it's going to be a modernized version of Navigador," but there's no Rondel in it. So this is Navigador meets Concordia because it's using that card system that Concordia uses. Where
technically Concordia is a Rondel. It's just hidden very well.
Yes, well, it's not an actual Rondel. So it's using that same system where everyone's going to start with a handful of cards, and then you can acquire more cards to build your engine, and then at any point you can just do your rest and pull everything back into your hand. It's Mac Gertz. I mean, come on. You had me there, but
well, so that's funny because you mentioned Mac Gertz. Mac Gertz is it's like Bruno Vaiduti Matt Gertz, and Vladimir Suchi are like my three designers, my big three, and for all different reasons, all three of them. So, yeah. So Matt Gertz, I think Matt Gertz is an absolute genius. I played Imperial for like the first time ever, like 7 years ago, and I was hooked ever since. And that's probably not even his best game. But anyway, yeah. So, well, that might show up later in a list of somebody else's, but we'll go with. Well, you know what? I can go if nobody has an issue with me going. I picked Dragon Castle. I like Mahjong, and I think this is it might be a lot of multiplayer solitaire, but I think this just looks really cool. From Horrible Games, I don't even know if they've ever published anything else ever.
Yes,
they
Hold
have.
on. I'll tell you. Just keep talking.
So, Dragon Castle, it's inspired by Mahjong. But you're trying to create a set of tiles, which you then consolidate, and then you flip them face down and you score points. And so I like the idea of Mahjong tiles. I like the idea of playing with them. I just tactilely, that's a really horrible word. It doesn't even a word. The tactile sensation of just playing with the tiles and holding them and everything like that. I don't know what they're made out of. I guess I'm hoping that they're like the real.
Bakelite?
Yeah, I hope they're the Bakelite, because then they feel right in your hands, and when they clack together, they feel right. I mean, there's a big reason why I play with poker chips all the time, because they feel nice in your hands. There's that fun tactile sensation. And I definitely think this is something my daughter would like, and I know I could get my wife to play as well. What did you find out? What else have they published? Horrible.
So
games.
well, the thing is, they're one of those companies that publishes along with 9,000 other companies the same games. So they published Dungeon Fighter, and they published comics, whatever the hell that thing is. They had published Potion Explosion in their country. They published Theme Park in their country. They published Raise Your Goblets in their country. So they have a bunch of stuff, but I don't know any of those that were theirs originally, and then we just know them from the other people who did them.
So have you guys ever played this, Lectio? Which is like it's a fun little game that you play with Bakelite squares. And it's same kind of thing. Like, I hope that they're made out of the same kind of material that Lectio has. Just like nice feeling. They clack together. I remember like people really wanted Lectio to be like, there was like a version of it that had these black tiles that everybody was like really excited about, that they really were excited for people to play with and what have you. Yeah, so like here, these are big and thick and chunky, and they just feel good when you clack them together. Good stuff. So I guess I'm just hoping that it's the same kind of material. I mean, and these are heavy. They just feel
all right.
Like there's some weight to them.
I have an odd question about this game, because I saw pictures of this game, and there was a game that used to be on the computer that I used to play.
That was called Mahjong.
No, it wasn't Mahjong.
Go ahead.
It had the tiles that got stacked up on top of each other, and you got to remove the ones that were on an edge that matched another one that was on an edge. This looks very similar.
Yeah, it was called Mahjong on your computer.
Whatever. All right.
That is Mahjong.
Yeah, that is Mahjong, but
it was called something else. It wasn't called Mahjong on the computer.
Kabuki Kid would be a good resource of this. If anybody knows what it was, it'd be her. So maybe she'll chime in and let us know.
They're having their own conversation.
Oh, hey, I'd like to give a shout out to like Paul Tompkins and Kabuki Kid for being our administrators or whatever, admins in our chat, and because we have not had to deal with any jackholes for very long, if at all. So thank you very much for taking over that role.
Well, because Chris Peach hasn't been in there for a while.
That's true. Ah. All right. So yeah, Dragon Castle is my number 3. Keith, what's your number 3?
My number 3, and I don't know a lot about it, but it looks super cool. And
Pioneer
the
Days. Thank you very much.
So
Pioneer Days is awesome.
Agra or Agra, however it's pronounced, from Quinted Games.
Agra from Quinted.
That looks pretty cool. So I put it number 3 on my list.
Boris.
What?
It does look cool.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
I
think I saw this at Gen Con. Like I walked by and I was like,
Yeah, I think they had it
"Holy-"
out for a look at Gen Con.
Yeah, I was like, holy crud, does that look nice? I mean, it's like Michael Menzel art. And it's got the weird like river thing that I've seen on lots of different games where like as you go down the river, you get to do certain actions.
But it's got that crazy 3D board part, right?
It's like the delivery track for what you've delivered to the Sultan or whatever.
Yeah, it's the Sultan's birthday, and you're doing all of the work on the board to be able to give it to the nobles who got invited to the party, and as you give them things, they're able to move up those tracks towards the Sultan's castle.
So there's no reason it should be that, but it is,
and it's awesome.
That makes it cool.
The coolest part about that whole thing going up is that the cylinders that represent the nobles you're moving up the track are actually angled on one side, so they actually stand up straight on that track, even though the track itself is slanted.
Huh.
See, I didn't know any of this, so that just makes it sound cooler.
Mm-hmm. It'll probably be one of the good midweight Euros that's going to come out of Essen.
I'm gonna stumble up here a little bit and make us talk about something else for just a hair or two. How many of these like midweight Euros do we still need though? I mean, I realize that's a little bit like of a pontification question, but I mean this kind of ties back into our like conversations that we've had about like the fact that we just own too many games, right? And there's like
how much longer do you want your company to be in business?
I understand.
I'm just saying that's your specialty, isn't it? That's your bread and butter.
My question is that will we ever reach a point where we don't like? I don't know. I mean, it's just
I don't think aggro would be considered midweight Euro by a lot of people. It would be very high on the mid or very low on the heavy scale.
I've heard from people that have played it. It is much deceptively lighter than what it looks like it will be.
Oh, it looks like it's a massive brain. I got to try it at Gen Con. Yeah. There's a lot going on. It's not midweight. Okay. It's not heavy, but it's not midweight.
Let's put a pin in that discussion about how many like whatever games do we need. We can come back to that, but just because I want to discuss that. But
it's an easy answer. We don't need any. We've got all the games we need.
I said put a pin in it.
Is a big difference.
I said put a pin in it. All right. So Forrest, give us your number 3.
My number 3 is Os gespielt der Messi Crime from Frosted Games. This is for 7 to 8 players, and it is a famous video blogger is murdered at Essen, and you have to role play out the story, and it's actually written by a real crime case writer. Everyone's a suspect, and it's kind of like one of those murder mystery dinner parties, but with a really cool sounding story. And I've always wanted to do one of those, and this sounds like a really cool one to start with.
You want to be the famous video blogger?
He stole mine. God,
you don't get to be one of those people. You're one of the suspects.
All right. Well, it sounds interesting at least. I have not heard anything about that at all.
Yeah, Gespielt der Messi Crime is going to be on the tip of everybody's tongue at BGG.
Very nice. Very nice. We'll leave it to you to come up with the thing that nobody knows anything about. All right. So, is anybody else still need to do their number 3?
My number 3. So I had Transatlantic, and I pulled in a sub, which was Agra. So I pulled in another sub. And so my third string, number 3, is Clans of Caledonia. This was a Kickstarter that launched earlier this year, did extremely well, first-time designer. And basically, from what I've heard, it's Terra Mystica, but it swaps out a couple of things for some economic things. And so from a lot of people, from what I've heard, is if you like Terra Mystica, you will like this. One thing I will say is, because I actually saw the game at Gen Con, is when you see the pictures of it, the box is deceptively small. The box is like Isle of Skye, maybe even smaller than that. And when you see pictures of the game, you're like, oh, this is a big, massive game. And I've heard it gives you a good, decent brain burn. It's very Terra Mystica feeling with a lot more economic aspects to it and kind of resource supply chain stuff going on. But it is in a very small package. So Clans of Caledonia.
Well, I mean, but the only thing everything I've heard about Clans is that yes, people are super excited for it and what have you. But I mean, I backed it on Kickstarter, so I'm now waiting for my copy to show up. But isn't it one of those things where it's most people have got it already? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Do
you have it?
Well, but I backed it. I mean, it's coming my way. That kind of thing.
I didn't. So a lot of people, it might be their first time to get it. So yeah, it was on Kickstarter. It's one of those things where it's kind of hard to be like, this was already on Kickstarter, but it's going to be coming out around Essen time. I don't know.
Fair enough. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's weird. No, it's weird that it's being released at Essen and it's got the standard few gripers on the Kickstarter saying, "Well, you promised our copies first. Where people are gonna be able to buy them." But oh well. What do you?
Is that what they sound like?
I don't know. They probably actually sound more like, this is kind of annoying. I gave you my money so you could publish this, and other people are going to get it for me. So that's probably more of what they sound like if we're going to go that route, right?
Okay.
Anybody else back it on Kickstarter?
No,
I did not.
Nobody? I'm the only
I
one?
looked at it. I was going to. I was thinking about it, but
I was backing it, and right around the time it was ending, I got hired by the company that's making it, so I didn't need to back it. But I would have.
Well, I guess I'm going to get the 70 custom metal coins and the exclusive box sleeve with it, so I guess I got that going for me, right? Let me see. What did they say? What's the most recent update? It's update on timeline. Let's see here. U.S. Fun Again Games has started shipping yesterday and should be finished by the end of the coming week. So I guess maybe you are going to get it in time. Shipping itself should not take more than a week. So most, if not all, backers in the U.S. should receive their copies by October 30th.
Yeah, close enough, right? It's in the mail.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got my shipping notice yet, but oh well. What are you going to do?
Coming from Fun Again, you may get it after it arrives.
This is also true. Yeah.
That's what happened when I got my Anachrony.
Anachrony. Anthony Anachrony. All right, so number 2, we got number 2s.
Yeah.
Number 2s.
My number
I'll go
2.
first.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going first because you've already done mine on somebody else's list, which is Newsford.
Okay. You want a super light Uwe Rosenberg game. I
love Uwe Rosenberg games, and so I want another one. So it's on my list at number 2.
All right. I'll just say my number 2, and I don't even. Somebody can tell me yes or no. I mean, is it definitive going to be there or not? I am Gaia Project, and
yes.
Okay, it definitively is going to be there. Then yes, I feel strongly about saying Gaia Project is my number 2. Terra Mystica is one of my favorite games that I've never won. That is the complete antithesis to my championship run as a stock car racer. because I have played. I probably played the game 15 times, and I've never even sniffed victory in Terra Mystica. Yet I still come back for more over and over and over again. So I'm thinking if I get Gaia Project and then I can win, then I can like retire after one win the first time I play, and then I could just stop playing it, and then that would like make up for the fact that I've lost Terra Mystica over and over again.
Game of the year.
No, game of the year is Seventh Continent, but
no.
Yeah.
I have exactly zero interest in this game.
Why? Why?
Because I have Terra Mystica. I don't need Terra Mystica in space.
It's not. No, don't. You're
Terra Mystica in space.
It's not. It's complete. It's very different.
It's very different.
It's very different.
It's built on the core, but it's a very different game. It's like saying, "Oh, I own Nations, so I can throw Through the Ages in the garbage." Or
it's like saying Cards Against Humanity is nothing like
Through the Ages is better than Nations.
But or like saying I own Agricola, so I can throw every Uwe Rosenberg game every other Uwe Rosenberg game in the trash.
Hey, you know what's weird? You just said that thing. Through the Ages is better than Nations, but strangely, sometimes Nations is more fun to play.
I would agree with that statement.
Anyway, that's something we also can put a pin in.
Anthony, take it. Just Terra Mystica is like top 10, one of my favorite games of all time. I was one of the people who said, "Who cares?" And after playing it like 6 or 7 times now, it does a lot of things a lot better than Terra Mystica.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Fancy.
I'm just saying. I want to dispel the rumor that's going around about it because I really think it is very good and very worthwhile to play. And it is not just Terra Mystica in space. It plays very different.
I'll ask you one question about it. If the answer is correct, then maybe I'll switch up and get that instead. Are the colors associated directly to the factions?
Yes.
No, then forget it. That's my one gripe about Terra Mystica. I wish you could just play whatever color you wanted to, and just the faction is the faction.
I mean, you can do that. There's no rule that says you can't.
Well, no, it says
it just helps you identify. It just helps you identify who you are. So if you want to take the red player's board and use the green pieces, you're perfectly welcome to because they all have the same pieces.
Fair enough. Right? Fair enough.
All right. Boris, what you got for number 2?
My number 2 is called Christmas Stories from Moses, which I didn't even know that was a game.
Wait. So Moses is a Jew, and he made a game called Christmas Stories?
That's the name of the game company. It's from Moses. But it's a sequel to a game called Black Stories, which I actually got to play when I first got into the hobby, oddly enough. Which is this really cool game where one person was a moderator and they tell like this murder mystery, and then everybody else is trying to figure out, piece together the pieces of the murder mystery and solve the mystery by asking questions and figuring it out. It's a deduction game, but this one is based, instead of being like a horror one, it's a Christmas one. So it's still like gruesome murder mysteries, but based around Christmas. I love Christmas. I love games like this. Players try to reconstruct the crime by asking, guessing, and fiddling about. Looks really cool. $10. Definitely one that I'm going to be taking home. Looks really cool.
Oh, same thing as Dark Stories, right?
Yes.
I love Dark Stories.
Yep. This one is a Christmas story, so it's Christmassy.
Fair enough. Anybody else got something? Who else? Keith, what do you got for number 2?
I already did number 2.
Keith's number 2 was Newsfjord.
That's right. Sorry.
Did you do yours?
Yeah, I said Gaia Project. You did number 2.
Okay, so I'm last. So my number 2 is Merlin. New Stefan Feld game.
I have like zero interest.
I'm with Lance.
Well, I got to try it at Gen Con. Sold right then on the spot. I was thinking of backing the Kickstarter, and then I actually did back it, and then I pulled my pledge because I'm like, Well, if they pull the whole, we'll try to get them out by Gen Con, by Essen, and they don't, and then they don't get them out by PAX Unplugged, where they're going to sell them. I'll just go pick it up at PAX Unplugged. So,
Well, that was my number one, so I'm done.
I just, I guess I'm just at the point where it's just like, how many of those? It just looks like point salad, and I don't know.
yes, and that's great.
Exactly.
Can you sell shares of your castle?
No.
Okay, I'll do mine. My number 2. So this is going to be a very this is kind of a disappointing Essen for me because I'm being let down by all of my sturdy favorite companies. Splotter is doing nothing new. Albin Viard is doing nothing new. So some of these companies that I come to stand by to do something new are not coming out with anything new. But tried and true, trusty old Sierra Madre is going to have stuff for Joe. And the one game I'm most excited about is John Company by Cole Worley. So I've done some playtesting on this game, but my God, this game is so different than anything you've ever played before. It is all the players are trying to semi-cooperatively try to keep the Dutch East Indies Company from going belly up. And so there's kind of a semi-cooperative, but you're also trying to like get out and get your people into high society back in England. So there's a big aspect of like trying to undercut and get out while the getting out's good, because things can go south really quick and then you're kind of stuck and locked into it. But the coolest thing is semi-cooperative games are, of course, very fiddly and very player dependent, and a lot of times they don't work out very well. So Cole actually designed this with like 5 different variants in it, where let's say we just don't cooperate and the game just splinters and doesn't work. You actually each take portions of the Dutch East Indies Company that you own and try to do the best that you can running partial companies rather than trying to make the entire thing work. Very cool, very thematic. I'm very interested to see what people's thoughts are on this one because I feel it's going to be a very divisive game.
All right. Well, you sound pretty excited about it. So,
I had not heard of it, but semi-co-op I love. So that sounds really interesting.
Semi-co-op's tough to pull off. It is one of the most difficult things because you rely on people not to game the game, if you will.
I would call it less of, I would say it's not semi-co-op. It's more of there are treaties and alliances and promises in the game, and lots of them.
Fair, if true. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough things to and didn't he do a reprint of one of his old games too? I remember I think I backed it on Kickstarter.
Bios Megafauna 2 is coming out.
Well, no, there was an older game like about like I don't know what it was. I can't even remember now. I'm drawing a complete and total blank. His mind drew a blank.
He's doing he did the reprint of BIOS Origins, kind of the update, and now he's going to be doing second editions of Neanderthal and Greenland next year. But he did, I don't think it was a Kickstarter, but he did a BIOS Megafauna 2 is coming out. So it's basically an updated version.
He did like Biogenesis or something or whatever.
Yeah, BIOS Genesis. That was like the second edition, but that only came out like the year before.
Well, no, but he did a Kickstarter for it, it funded like 6 months ago or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I backed that because I need another Sierra Madre game that I'll play once, then it can sit on my shelf forever.
They don't take up much room.
No, they don't. They're a little tiny box, and trying to convince people to play is like pulling teeth. So, yeah, there you go. Let's see. Well,
this is more in the PAX line than the other lines. So this is much more of a PAX style game.
Very cool. All right. The only game there's this pirate game that I want that I can't. I've always wanted to pick up and I'm having trouble tracking it down. I forget what it's called.
Lords of the Spanish Main.
Lords of the Spanish Main. There you go. Yeah. That's the one I'm like still looking for.
Old crazy games.
Sure, it's not
Yeah.
Cannon Buster?
I'm sure. Pretty positive.
It's from Happy Baobab? Okay. It's not very good.
I thought for sure you'd have the CZ 18CZ game on yours. There.
I haven't done my number one yet.
Oh, fair. Well, do your number one then.
18CZ is my number one. 18XX Lonnie. That's all I need to say.
Shocking.
It's I guess the cool thing about it is it's got 3 different sizes of companies. So there's like 2-share companies, 5-share companies, 10-share companies, and the larger companies can merge the smaller companies into them. And I believe that you can even merge them into you aggressively from other players. And so I think that there is going to be some interesting things. It's a ton of companies in this game, not a very big map. So it seems Lonnie always does cool stuff with his 18XXs, 1880, 1844, 54. All of his stuff is very different, and he always puts a unique spin on it. So this one is awesome. I'm really excited for it.
That one was on Kickstarter a while back, too. You could have backed it and got a copy then.
I did. It's shipping.
Oh.
Should be here this week, but it's an Essen release, so.
Yeah, I remember I was going to back it, then I didn't back it, then I was going to back it, then I didn't back it. Now I'm mad that I didn't back it. So
yeah, we actually ordered from Columbus and Cleveland. We did a group order, and we actually ordered 17 copies from one back. Got a huge discount.
Oh. Are all 17 copies spoken for?
Yeah. So, like, we basically just...
Thanks for thinking of me there, buddy. Appreciate it very much.
You're welcome. But we basically put out the calling to like all the groups we knew, and we're like, hey, who wants one? Who wants one? And we had 17 people respond. So we emailed Lonnie, and we're like, hey, I know like 5 is your max, but we want 17. And he's like, oh, we'll do it for this price. So I think we got him for like $30 less than what the MSR or what the Kickstarter was asking.
Pretty sweet. Good for you. And thanks again for asking. So, all right. So number one, I'll just do mine because like you already stepped on my touchdown call there, Anthony. Transatlantic number one. I've been waiting for a new Mac Gertz game that wasn't like a Concordia Salsa. You know, just like this is his first game. It's weird. It looks like it's going to be a square box. It doesn't look like it's going to be the
long box, yes,
the long box thing, which really bothers me because I
have all my Mac Gertz over there.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine right now, and I'm like, I have every single one, and
I hate when there's a game and you have a place for it and it's the wrong size box.
Yeah, it's like, why would you do that? I mean, I have.
And
yeah,
it's the same publishers too. It's not like it's different publishers doing it.
Yeah, it's like and I realize it's a small problem to complain about, but it's like, why would you do that? That kind of attitude I had, you know, just like yeah, but whatever. Matt Gertz is one of my big 3, and he's finally got a new game coming out, and I've been like chomping at the bit. Like I remember it was originally called like wasn't it like something shipping or something like that?
It was like Steamship Shipping Company or something.
Yeah, Steamship Company or something like that. It was the most boring name of all time. But yeah, just it looks really cool, and excited to Steamship Company. It was first shown off in 2015. Way back in the day.
I'm actually not the biggest Matt Gertz fan, but I think this one does seem very interesting. Very excited.
Yeah. So I'm excited to give this one a roll, and I wanna see how it works. So yeah. So there you go. But like I said, you stepped on my touchdown call, so now I'm gonna just turn it over to Anthony, who can say his number one.
All right. So if that's the case, then Keith stepped on mine. Agra is my number one.
Fair, and we've already kind of
talked about it.
So, Forrest, tell us whatever obscure title you've thought of after having some brownies, and let us know.
My number one with a bullet is not really on my list. It's kind of like an
spaghetti in my spaghetti.
That's actually already out, but But I'm surprised no one mentioned it, but it's Charterstone. You know, that's not my number one, but that's what I would put as number one from Stonemaier Games. You know, worker placement, legacy, and I've liked everything I've played from them. But my real number one that I wrote down is Freelinks from Black Rock Games. And this one kind of harnesses into the fact I have attention deficit hyper disorder, and I have a very hard
No way, you?
I have a very hard time with empathy and seeing other people's emotions and understanding emotions. I have a lot of problems with emotions. Something me and my wife talk about a lot. But apparently, you pick a card in a situation to read out loud, and then you choose an emotion and you bet on how other people's emotions are going to be about that particular situation. And it looks as both a great thing to work with kids, you know, about emotional regulation and that sort of thing. Since I work with kids, that's great. But it also seems like a great thing for me since I can kind of harness in more on how people feel about certain situations, which, you know,
So
I have an issue with.
Dixit with emojis.
It is with emotions. Yeah. Looks
Forrest,
awesome.
I give you credit that you managed to always find something out there that nobody even knew existed. So,
well, like I said, my real 1A is Charterstone. I'm super stoked for Charterstone, but I just assumed someone would mention it.
I'm sure Charterstone will be amazing. I'm just not like, I don't know.
I'll play it when I play it is kind of my thing on
Yeah,
it.
when I see it and I'm able to just, you know, put it in my hands and then I'll just, yeah, okay.
I ain't got time for legacy games.
I think that
Blank.
I think legacy games as a whole are just like kind of like I'm not super hyped to get them right away because it's like, what am I going to do with them right away? I have to make a plan.
Yeah, and you have to say, okay, we got to get together on this day, and we got to do this, and we got to do that, and
your Seafall fell apart, didn't it?
Oh, it totally did because, well, what happened was, and I've told the story a few times, but just the quick story is that I had like the perfect turn, basically, like I was able to cash in and score. Like it was like weird. It was like I managed to cash in I got a bunch of gold, and then I was able to claim like these two different achievements that gave me a ton of victory points that basically gave me something like 15 victory points, all like bam bam bam, just like crazy, and none of the players could stop me from doing it. And so I outpaced them in scores, and I was already up but then I was up even more, and they kind of looked at it like there's like no chance we're ever going to catch up to them. And it was just like, and it was like, it basically crushed the desire for anybody to get together and play it again. So, you know, it was like, I tried numerous times to get people to do it. And then one of the guys that actually like was in the group, he ended up having, he came down with spinal stenosis and he had to have surgery. And then, so that put him out of commission for like several months, and he's just getting back on his feet now. So maybe we'll go back into it, but it's just whatever, that kind of thing.
Did you spoil the hell out of the rest of the game for yourself?
No, I didn't open up anything, didn't read anything. I haven't read anything, but it's weird. I don't have any real desire. It's just like, oh, you know, so what's the crazy story behind it? And I'm just kind of like, whatever, who cares? You know, I was just, I don't know. Maybe there's a really cool backstory and I never found out, but I don't know. It's
was the story to the point you played up to compelling, or was it just whatever?
We were getting to the mystery, right? We were unlocking different boxes and like finding crazy cool stuff, but there was no big overarching, like, I don't know, and maybe there never was. I mean, like, obviously, you know, I think at this point we can talk about Pandemic Legacy, you know, like the big reveal in that one.
Wait. Maybe some people haven't finished it.
I won't say.
They just started it.
I won't say anything then. So, like,
no, you just spoiler alert. Quit listening if you haven't.
No. Okay, we all know what the big thing is.
Dumbledore dies.
Yeah. So Soylent Green is people, but anyway. No,
Snape is actually on Team Potter the whole time.
Yeah. So there's the, like, and you know what, in all honesty, the big reveal in Pandemic Legacy isn't really that big of a reveal. It's something that happens, right? And you just kind of continue playing.
You open the last box and your $39.99 is in there waiting for you.
Yeah. So no, so you don't really get so I don't know, maybe I don't know if Seafall has a big reveal. I don't know. But it's I don't, but I have no real desire to find out, I mean, sometimes I'll say I really want to go see that movie, and then I'll say I'm probably not going to get to see that movie, and then I'll tell myself I probably want to know if there was some secret, and then I'll go to Wikipedia and read the plot just so I know how the movie would have ended, and then if I get around to ever watching it, then I'll get around to watching it, and then I'll be like, oh, well, I told myself how this ends, but whatever, and I just, so it's kind of the same way. So maybe I could go and read some sort of plot synopsis for it, but I'm just why bother?
I don't know any group or any reviewer that actually played the entire campaign. Every single person that I know that tried quit.
I heard Mark Streed and his group finished it off from Dice Tower, and he said the payoff was worth it. So that's the only person I know that actually finished the game off.
Mark Street, is he the guy that wears the Kanga all the time?
I don't even know what a Kanga is.
The Kangol hat.
Yes.
Oh yes. So yeah, Mark and his group finished it off. So
it's good when you have a moniker like that.
A what? Mark
Just
Street?
something. Just when you have something that people can call on, guy in the Kangol hat. There you go.
I had somebody actually tell me that they were upset that I'm not gonna wear glasses anymore because it's part of my look. I was like, oh, sorry to disappoint.
You have to go back to the old look, Lance.
What, like the goatee?
When you first started with the goatee and the
mutton chop sideburns,
the big blonde ponytail.
Yeah, that was great. I had a lot more hair back then too, so there's that going on.
You've been posting your wedding pictures all week on Facebook, and
I know I just posted that one of my older brother because he looked like such a doofus. Well, that and my anniversary, so I posted a picture of my wife. And
people in that picture did look very strange.
Yeah, that was she said I had to clean up, and I actually went and got my hair cut that morning. That's the last time I got my hair cut. I haven't had my hair cut.
Not my most favorite Lance in a tuxedo picture.
What's your
the one of you and your friend's wedding.
Oh yeah,
pink bow tie and cummerbund.
Yeah, that was great. Clean shaven. And I think I had I had the poofy hair.
Yes,
I had the poofy top going on.
Short hair, poofy top.
I was how old was I in that picture?
I was like 12.
Yeah, I know. I think I was 21 in that picture. I was 21. And that was I had cut my I had long hair. I started growing out my hair when I was 15 years old. And I had long hair and I had long hair until I was 20, and then I started dating a girl who asked me to get a haircut, and so I did because I'm an idiot. And then I come in. Thing is that I might eventually have short hair and I might be clean shaven at some point in my life. And at some point, in the next 5-10 years, something, because my mother has asked me, she said, I would like to see you without a beard and long hair one more time before I die. My mother asked me that. And you have to do what your mama asks you. So there will come a time at some point in the future where I will cut my hair and I will do what my mama asks because that's the right thing to do. So.
Well, guys, good night. I got to wake up at 5 a.m. That's it for me.
What do you got to do at 5 a.m.?
Got to make a phone call.
Got to go to the gym.
What's up at the gym? What's up that you trying to get all fit as a fiddle now? I mean, I'm not making fun of you.
Gym?
What's that?
Board game days at the gym?
No. Yeah. I over the last 2 years, I've been getting much healthier. I was 275 and I got down to 230. But then after having the baby, I cheeseburgered myself back up to 242.
That damn baby weight.
Yeah. And then after Gen Con, I said, I'm done with this. I'm absolutely sick of this. I'm going to get into I'm not going to get like I'm not going to lose weight. I'm going to get into shape. I'm going to change my lifestyle. And so since Gen Con, which is exactly 6 weeks from, or at least 6 weeks ago is when I started this. I don't think I started exactly when I got back from Gen Con. So this Saturday will be my 6th week, and I've gone from 242 to I am now 216.
Well, good for you, man.
So I am hitting the gym hard. I am eating very, very insanely, actually, and doing everything that I'm supposed to do, and it is working very well. So
what are you eating?
So for a while, I was just eating like very low, tracking my macros for what I'm supposed to eat, and eating at a big caloric deficit. So I was eating like 1,800 calories a day or something. And now I'm actually, this is my 2nd week in keto. So I'm actually trying out the keto diet, which is super high fats, no carbs. And it's actually really, really great. And so I'm really enjoying it.
My wife's doing that right now.
Yeah, well, I knew people that actually did it years ago because their children had severe epilepsy and had crazy seizures, and they put their children on like a super hardcore ketogenic diet for like years, and it cured it. And so there's like a lot of it started in the medical community, and it's kind of moved into the fitness community. And so I'm just trying it out. But basically the whole deal with keto is your body eats glycogen, produces insulin, and fuels your body. And if you don't eat any carbs, you don't have any glycogen. So your body produces ketone bodies, which actually fuel your body much more efficiently than carbs do. So you eat an extremely high fat diet, and it actually fuels your body a lot more and trains your body to not eat glycogen. It trains your body to eat fat, so your body is constantly eating your stored fat.
Yeah, but bread tastes good.
It really does, and I have not had a carb in 2 weeks.
So no sugars.
No sugars.
No
I
sugars.
get trace amounts from leafy green vegetables, but you subtract the dietary fiber when you look at the carbs and subtract the dietary fiber, so it's almost zero.
So what do you eat for breakfast then?
I eat
bacon and eggs.
I eat 4 strips of bacon, 3 eggs, 2 cups of spinach, half a cup of cheese, and half an avocado. That's my breakfast every morning.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, that's a great breakfast. It's delicious.
Well, I mean, I you got me on the bacon and eggs. I mean, that sounds good. And, but the cheese sprinkled on the eggs, that's always good.
Spinach mixed in with the eggs is great. Spinach omelet, Florentine.
I'm not a big spinach guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Douse the whole thing in hot sauce is what I do. So,
well, okay. And then for lunch, what do you have? You have 4 strips of bacon, 3 eggs, and
half a cup of cheese, 6 slices of salami, 3 big stalks of broccoli, and a bunch of olives. That's what I eat every day for lunch.
You're never gonna get bored of just eating that every single day.
I'm more concerned with getting into shape and getting healthy than I am with what I'm eating. That's kind of my trade-off.
Fair enough, man. Well, I'm proud of you. I don't think I could do it, but good for you for doing it, man.
Yeah. So that's why I haven't actually been on, is because waking up super early, and then I usually go to the gym at night, and Wednesday night is a good time to go.
What do you do at the gym then?
Just a little bit of strength training, but mostly I'm doing high intensity interval training. So mostly I'm doing like Tabata style intensity, high intensity interval training and stuff like that. But I walk about 5 miles a day, which is really good. Most of my nights, instead of sitting around watching TV, will go on a walk. And so I'll strap the baby onto a little carrying pouch, and me and my wife will just go on a long walk and talk. Just being active instead of being sedentary, I guess. I do 100 push-ups a day. So every time I get up from my desk, I do 10. And every time I sit back down at my desk, I do 10.
If you're sitting down at your desk, how do you do 10 push-ups?
When I get, if I go to the bathroom, when I leave, I do 10. And then coming back from the bathroom, I do 10 before I sit back down.
I was making a joke.
I know, but I was treating it like it wasn't. Actually, I have to keep count right here. So this was today, day 18 of 100 push-ups.
Well, good for you, man. And yeah, I mean, you're an inspiration to people that want to try to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and I don't like to get too whatever, but it's definitely, once I get to where I want to be, it will be the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, for sure.
Cool. Well, get some sleep then, Mister. Got to be at the gym soon.
Yep. Good night, everybody. It was fun. I'll try to hang out with a little bit more too.
Good night, Jojo.
Bye, guys.
All right, now we all feel awful about ourselves because we're not doing 100 push-ups today. Hello? Just you and me, apparently. How many push-ups today do you do, Forrest?
What?
How many push-ups today do you do?
I do 0, but I do my watch religiously, except for today. So I
Your
get about
watch?
15,000 steps a day,
Oh,
which is I don't know, like 7 or 8 miles.
I saw you walking in the when we're getting ready to go live. I was like, what is he doing? It looks like you're like just dancing there for a second. You must have been on like what? Were you on your treadmill or something?
No, I was just walking in place. That's what I do. I'm not losing weight yet because I'm not really trying, but it helps maintain my weight, which is good to know that if I actually put forth some effort to losing weight, I can do it. Because I mean, the average person does not walk anywhere near 15,000, so it helps me maintain/lose weight when I want to. But I also need to get off as well because I got to be up at 6:30 to get the kids up, and then get ready and packed.
Interesting. No, I'm trying to think here. Where did everybody go?
Keith got off. I'm getting off. Anthony went to the bathroom or something. I don't know. We only had 5.
Yeah, we only had 5. Did everybody else do their full 5? Maybe I. So other than that, you're excited to fly? You got your passport ready and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so excited about flying because it's going to be. I arrive at like 11, so I'm going to be up for like 30 hours if I can't sleep on the plane. I'm probably not going to be able to sleep on the plane. But I'm excited to get in there, get situated, go to a grocery store, and then sleep, and then go to Amsterdam.
You didn't have them buy you you didn't have your backers get you a first class ticket?
No. My ticket was only $600 round trip, so I was pretty stoked. I'm going on a budget.
And you're staying at you're gonna stay at a Airbnb and wake up without a kidney. That's your plan?
Oh, there's a very nice lady named Yuti who's going to be running the Airbnb. She has a 4.5 stars out of 5. I have the utmost faith that my kidneys will be intact. Now, the hostel that I'm going to, which that's a different story.
Why are you going to a hostel?
Because I'm cheap. And, yeah, I'm cheap. I got 2 kids.
I'm cheap.
Well, I also have 2 kids. I can't be spending too much money. I mean, I got to ship everything back. I got to ship all the stuff for the Kickstarter. It's a lot of money.
Fair enough. All right. So, I was going to talk about something. Well, we were going to talk about the games thing, but now there's not I don't have a foil in Anthony to speak to. I don't know. Are you ever going to go to BGGCon?
One of these days. I have a feeling, well, I need to get a better job. Like, I'm at my current job right now because I get half off childcare. But once I actually get a good job, because right now I make about $20,000 a year, which is not going to be, that's not enough to be going to flying there for that. Because I can get away with Gen Con and Essen and Origins because it's work quote unquote, but just BGG Con is just pleasure.
Yeah, but where do you live? You live right around.
It's
Where do
very
you
cheap.
live?
I live in a very cheap area. It's called Fort Wayne, Indiana. We actually have one of the highest or one of the lowest cost of living in the country, but still 2 kids, a mortgage. It's expensive. So.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but the flight to Dallas has got to be nothing.
Yeah, but it's also just it's convincing my wife to let me leave town again for 4 or 5 days. That's the big thing. She let me go to Origins. She let me go to Gen Con. She's letting me go to Essen. She lets me go to these camps where I volunteer with kids 3 times a year. So I'm gone, 6 or 7 weekends out of the year as is. So that's just for another one. It's a pretty hard sell.
Well, just tell her to get a boyfriend, and then things will be fine. Just take care of things on the side, and there you go.
All right, I gotta get off though. I gotta get some sleep.
You gotta go too, huh? All right.
Yep.
Well, I guess we're gonna call it a night then, because Anthony vanished. Oh, there, Anthony's back. I guess Anthony and I can sit up and talk about everybody else that's leaving.
Yeah, good. We'll make fun of
All right.
everybody.
Later, guys.
Bye,
All right,
Forrest. Have a good trip.
Cheech. Yeah, you take care of yourself and come. Oh, okay. So
Buenos dias and buenas noches. She just doesn't like my face.
Classic John Lovitz. Who was the other guy? It was John Lovitz and who else?
It's John Lovitz and was it Kevin Nealon?
No, it was.
It was Tom Hanks did it with them too.
Yeah.
Damn it! Now it's going to drive me nuts.
Was it Phil Hartman?
No. Hold on. I'm going to find
It was. I gotta think here. Yeah. And it's like, hello
and goodbye. She thinks I'm repulsive.
Who was it? God, I can't think of it right now. Didn't like me at all. No, sir. No, oh man, it's gonna bug me now, and I can't think of it either. You're gonna find it, and you're gonna say it.
I am gonna find it.
And I'm gonna be all like,
SNL Girl Watchers. No, it was just the two of them.
It was just Tom Hanks and John Lovitz.
Tom Hanks, yeah.
So it was just when he must have been on,
he was on, he hosted them a whole bunch of times. The Girl Watchers.
I liked the when what's his face is on and I can't think of his name, the actor, Christopher Walken, and he was the guy staying in the hotel, the Cosmopolitan or whatever it was, or the Continental, or what was it called?
And now it's time for the Continental. No, don't go.
Yeah, like spraying his with mace, and he's like, "Oh, I'm afraid I have a that no longer works on me." Yes, the Continental.
There's certain things on that show that they may have been on once, and I just remember them because it's so like Jay Moore did Christopher Walken's Psychic Friends Network.
Yes, I remember that.
I don't know why you're not calling. I'm going to bring out my next guest, Todd Bridges.
I just remember when Jay Moore did Christopher Walken's voice for the Simpsons episode, when Christopher Walken reading to kids, and he's like, "Good night, Moon. Good children. What did I say about the scooching?" Because the kids are trying to move away from him. And it's like, I told you, that makes me angry. Christopher Walken, the voice that everybody tries to impersonate, but nobody pulls off. It's
Everybody has a Walken. Jay Moore's is probably one of the best ones.
Jay Moore and who's his face? I can't think of the
The guy who does Columbo.
No, I can't think of his name. He's an actor. He was a stand-up comic as well.
Yeah, he does the Columbo impression also.
He was in Usual Suspects.
Yes, I know. Kevin. Oh, what's his name?
He did a really good one. He does a really, really good
Kevin
one.
Pollak.
Kevin Pollak. There you go. And it's just like, yeah, he does one of the best in my opinion.
Well, I heard them talking about this once, and he does the one tone Walken. The thing I like about Jay Moore's Walken, he does the whisper part that most of them don't do.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's so good.
What was it? Like, have you watched the Norm Macdonald? Like, he does the YouTube show. He had another season.
I've actually been listening to the podcast. I've been watching it, but I've been listening.
He had Rich Little on, and who, yes, unbeknownst to a lot of you, was still alive, and he had Rich Little on, and they were talking about impersonators and how like it's you can make. Rich Little kind of talked about how like you can make your mark doing it. But it's very depressing because nobody wants to see you. They want to see you being other people.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing that we're saying about that was actually interesting is the fact that most people who do impressions of someone else's impression.
Oh.
He's like, because Norm was saying that him and his friends used to do impressions that Rich Little did. Because they liked the voice, but they had no idea who these people were.
That's cool. I remember that now that he said that. And then he was talking, and I remember like the Larry King episode of the Norm Macdonald thing is from like season 1 or 2.
Yeah, I've been going back now because I caught up on all the new ones. So
is fantastic, and then they talk about the fact that because that was Norm Macdonald did the Larry King on Saturday Night Live, like he was the one who. And Larry King said, your voice doesn't sound anything like me, but he said, but you got my character exactly.
Well,
like
that's part of the thing too. That's why, like a lot of the Rich Little impressions were so big, was because he got the mannerisms down, and that's like half the impression.
Yeah, because like when you go like you if you pull up Norm Macdonald and doing Larry King, like he's got the suspenders on, he's got the weird hunch perfectly. You know, like the way that way that he would always sit, Larry King would always sit, and that was so good because he gets Larry King just like laughing, like uncontrollably laughing, like, and it's funny to see Larry King like the rigid facade of Larry King like kind of break down, and when he has Super Dave Osborne on too. Because I think it's a crying shame that more people don't. Super Dave he's hilarious, so good on so many levels. Speaking of which, new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm finally came out. Are you a Curb fan?
No,
really.
I've seen a few episodes, but I'm not. I don't do television.
I rarely do.
It's one of those things where I just don't have time, and it's like if something's on, and like I'm like, oh crap, I missed the next episode.
Yeah, but now everything's so streaming, you can always pick it up, right? You can always watch it.
Yeah, but then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get back to it, and then it's like I never do.
Hey, hold that thought for like 10 seconds. We'll be right back.
All right,
like tell jokes or something.
I'll entertain the audience. All right, and now is the time in the show when you can ask me anything you like. So, to the 18 people watching. Anything at all. Nothing at all. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Have I played any good war games lately? I've played Urban Operations from Nuts. It's awesome. Block war game, squad based. Very cool. Very hard to get here, but go. Kabuki, do I play any instruments? I play very bad guitar. Very bad. Do I have an all-time favorite war game? No, I don't. Let's see. What's my favorite novel? I don't read a lot. I used to read a lot. Like one of my favorite books that I recall, and I think I read it like 4 or 5 times, is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. What's my story on getting into the hobby? Let's see. I played Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid. I always played board games. Then I started dating and then put those things aside. Got married, had kids. My oldest son was turning 8, I think. And I was in Toys R Us and I happened to see HeroScape there and I thought it was really cool. And I wanted to buy it, and I said, "Wow, I can't buy that game. That's for kids." And sure enough, I asked my son what he wanted for his birthday, and he said, "There's this game that has dragons and soldiers and all this." And I was like, "Yes!" Got that. Went on. I found the HeroScapers website, looking for if there were other stuff for HeroScape out. Started hanging out there. Then from there, I got turned on to Tom Vassel's top 100 every year because everyone wanted to see where HeroScape, and then I started looking at all the other games that were there, and now 1,000 games later, here I am.
1,000.
Oh yeah, I'm doing AMA. Okay, so hold on. So Kabuki, the wacky guy who was recently on Jeopardy. So that guy, the first few times the few shows he was on, I thought he was kind of quirky, and it didn't bother me. After a while, it just got ridiculous. But whatever. What's on my hat? This hat is from the LaGrange Little League, which my sons played on, and I coached several teams. So this is one of the hats from one of the years. No, Mo, Battleship is not my favorite. What version of D&D did you start on? First edition. I'm old. So yeah, no, I had the not the red box, the one with the really weirdly painted dragon and the magic user on it. It was like, was it purple or like pinkish? The sides of the box. That was the first one. My aunt bought that for me for my birthday one year, and my cousin and I played that weekend because they live upstate, and they used to come for like Christmas, after Christmas till New Year's, and they'd come like around Easter, and we literally played the entire time that he was there. Yeah, magenta box, yes. Yeah, okay, Lance is back. AMA's over.
Well, they can ask me questions if they want to, but I'm an open book. I'm pretty boring. What were we talking about before I wandered off?
We were talking about Norm Macdonald and impressions.
Yeah. I mean, did you give kids? Everybody forgets that about Bad News Bears is that he gives them all beer at the end of the movie. It's just like that would never fly now. Like, oh, hey, everybody have a Pabst. You know, just like HeroScape, huh? Yeah, that was. There's still people that are holding out that it's going to come back one day, but I don't think it ever will.
Never. Too expensive.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's they were able to sell it for what they did because they mass produced it so much, and I don't think they'd ever mass produce the game like that anymore.
Well, also petroleum was cheaper then.
Yeah,
All that plastic was a lot cheaper to make. Everything's pre-painted.
and now and to be honest, pre-painted not really well. I mean, it was, but
yeah, but for what it is, for mass produced, it's pretty decent pre-painted. It was better than the D&D minis.
true. The D&D minis are pretty god awful. You know what I've found now I'm like into, what's weird is like my passion now is, and I've said this before, it's Warhammer. And now that they're starting up a skirmish league, and my daughter and I have like made, so you don't have to make like a giant like 80-piece army anymore. Like you can actually just, when you're playing a skirmish league, it's like, oh, I have 5 models, and you're just fighting with your 5 models instead of like these massive troops. Like that's actually really fun now, and it isn't super expensive to get started. You don't, and the league that's local to my area is like very very casual. Like the people aren't like like going for the win. They're just there to have a good time. It's definitely, you go down a rabbit hole with it though, and I found myself be actually pretty excited about it. So yeah, which has been a while since I've been like super excited about tabletop whatever. So I think that'll be fun. Oh, excuse me. Now I will say this, like like the whole process, you wouldn't think that like your body trying to heal your eyes would make you tired, but it makes you tired. It just like, I came home after my surgery. I slept most of that day, and today I had a couple of like 2-hour naps today. Just like I was like, I can't stare at anything for a while. I'm gonna go listen to talk radio in my bedroom and fall asleep. And that's what I went and did. I suppose they say that's normal though. What else were we talking about a little bit ago? Why'd you decide to do a podcast?
Because I'm an idiot. No, we were at a small convention, in local conventions in Massachusetts, and we been playing more board games than HeroScape, and so I met Paul and Matt, who did the show with me, and Kevin now through HeroScape. And I used to go and hang out with Matt and Paul at the tournaments we used to run. Every month we had one, like somewhere between either Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. So we would go and we'd meet each other and hang out. We got to, become friendly. And so we used to all go to this convention, and we all started getting into regular other board games at the same time. And I was sitting there with Paul, and we'd sit at these things and we would just talk about the games. And the guys who played pretty much just HeroScape used to like hang around and like listen to us talk about games. Like, oh, that sounds cool. That sounds interesting. And we would just like talking about games. And we'd always noticed that when we did, there was people like hanging around. And I'm like, you know what? We should just do a podcast. And I said it really like tongue in cheek joking to Paul, and totally expecting him to say no. And he says, yeah, cool. Let's do it. And I was like, all right. And that's how we started doing it. And then Matt came on because we did Jack Bass Memorial Fund. We we auctioned off a guest host spot, and Matt bid on it. And it was like, oh, we know Matt from HeroScape. And Matt came on to do one show, that he bid on, and people heard it and they're like, oh, Matt, Matt's really good with you guys. And we're like, all right, let's bring Matt on. So we brought Matt in. And then when we, relaunched this past year, we had to change the night we record on and everything. And the whole thing with recording with 2 people is our schedules don't always line up. So I asked Kevin. Kevin was doing a podcast with one of his friends. So I had asked him at Gen Con if he'd be interested in coming on. So we're actually, 4 people on the show. We're not on at the same time, but we have it now, so we can always do a show like they're recording this week without me because, as you can hear, my voice is like shot to hell. So Kevin and Paul are actually recording an episode. The next episode of the show will be just the two of them. But yeah, no, it's, I do it because it's fun to do.
Yeah. We had some actually questions. Kuki said, did they tell you need to moisturize your eyes a lot? Yes, they said use artificial tears, which is what I've been dropping in my eyes right here. They also gave me some medicinal drops that I have to take 4 times a day. One's a steroid that kind of bulks up your eye, and one is a antibiotic. One of the things is that with that is that your eyes don't have like blood vessels like the rest of your body does, and so what you have to do, so you could take all the antibiotics in the world, like pills, and it would never really do much for your eyes. Like the actual eyeball, like you could, if you have pink eye, that's like a problem with your mucous membranes, and so then you can take an antibiotic, and that'll take care of that. But the actual eyeball, like just to prevent it from getting any kind of disease, like infection or anything like that. And one of my friends who had LASIK done actually got an infection in his eye. Which, he basically he was on antibiotic drops for like a month. He had to drop antibiotics, which he said just sucked. He said, but what they did, and I forgot to tell this part when I tell the story. So, when the doctor said he was going to do PRK, he said, "Are you getting the plugs?" And like basically what it is that there's these where your tears drain out of your eye. They put in these collagen like plugs that basically will be absorbed by your body over the course of the next month. And so they put those in, and he said, I won't do the PRK unless you get these in. And so, he said, I'll give you a really good deal as far as how much it costs for these. And so he, cut the price by about 50%. And what that is that basically it prevents the tears from draining out of your eye. And so my eyes are like constantly watering, which is exactly what they want it to happen. So, so I still take the drops, but it's one of the things, like I had a friend who did PRK, and he said his eyes just felt awful, like all the time. He said they just hurt, and I was like, and maybe mine still will, soon enough, but it's been really manageable as far as the pain goes. Like it's just mildly annoying is what it is, and I don't even think about it half the time. So if that's what you're thinking about, whatever, that's what it is, and the thing is that when you think about it, it's like, it's a, like the PRK versus LASIK, it comes down to, like what it is. The weird thing is that, like the military, like won't allow you to get LASIK. They like, and like technically, like when you sign up and you're part of the military, like they own you or whatever, it's like, it's just one of those things. So it's like, they force you to get PRK, so there must be a reason, right? And I don't know. So maybe it's the better of the two. Who knows? I did not get the new Baseball Hellas 2045 cards. I was at Kevin Burkhartsmeyer's house last week. He invited me down on Saturday. He was having some people over to play poker, and I love playing poker, so I drove down there, and I had a really awesome dinner with him and his family and his friends, and then we played poker, which was fun. And he showed me like the cards, and it was like something like $30, and it was just like 4 decks of cards. It was like 80 cards for like $30. I was kind of like, which is cool and all, because like Baseball Highlights is a fun game, but it was like, they don't come in a box or anything. He said they were just like basically crammed in an envelope and sent to him. And he was like, and he was happy to support the game and the designer, but he was a little bit annoyed at how they how it was packaged and how it was sent. And Kevin rarely complains about anything, so for him to complain about anything to me was like, ooh. I don't want to speak for Kevin either, but Space Empires 4X. Yes, that was like one of my game of the years when I did my top 10 list. Whenever that game came out. And
I haven't played it. I want to play it. It just got
it's like it's totally and in my opinion, you need the Close Encounters expansion. It's really well worth it. But it was a game that, like, yes, you could play with multiple people, but I have a friend, Derek, who that's the type of game that he would love, and that's the guy I play it with. And I haven't played a game with Derek in over a year, so I haven't played that game in over a year. But it is a giant spreadsheet game. I mean, it is. You have to, like, recognize what you're getting into. And it really, in my opinion, it worked out best for us as a 2-player game, which seems weird, but like when you have a lot of people, the game can take a long, long time. So, yeah. So there's that then. And I got the Attack of the Giants game that that had the collector's edition with the minis, the painted minis. And I thought they looked pretty nice. But I wish that game was better.
Look, it's John Clare.
John Clare?
Hey.
You did come on.
I'm joining late.
No, that's
I'm joining
cool.
quite late here. Hey.
No, that's cool that you came on. Everybody, hey, John Clare, the designer and creator of Downfall.
Mystic Vale. Oh, wait.
Oh, Mystic Vale.
Yes, Mystic Vale.
It's good to have you on, my friend.
Who all is on? I know Lance.
Well, this is Anthony Riccano. He is the host and creator of the Cardboard Jungle a podcast. So, and he's one of the original Alaboomers. So he's like one of the co-hosts of this show. So
cool.
I'm like Shemp.
So yeah, what were you up to today that you got on here when you did?
I was at the office today. Then we had an after work thing because one of the directors of my department was in to the West Coast. He usually works on the East Coast, so we went out after that, and then the Dodger game was really close, so I had to watch the rest of that.
Did the Cubs end up winning that one? I saw that they went ahead late.
Unfortunately, man, they managed to keep their 3-2 lead. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got a little 1-1, right?
No, it would have been nice to go 7-0 so far, but
I guess
it is what it is. We'll win the next one and make it to the World Series. So
we just gotta hope that Houston can win the last two, so we don't have to deal with Yankees in the.
I would love to see a Yankees-Dodgers World Series.
Hey, what? So hold on, Anthony. What do Yankee fans say?
27 championships.
So I am an unusual Dodgers-Yankees fan. I was born in New York, and my dad was a Yankee fan, so I grew up one. And then, of course, I've lived in LA ever since I was 2 years old. So I am an LA fan. So I guess that's a weird combination, but I would love to see a Yankees-Dodgers World Series.
I was born in the Bronx, about 10 minutes from Yankee Stadium, and I can't stand them.
You can't stand them.
Can't stand them.
Noisy, loud.
27 championships. I can't stand them because they hate their fans.
All right, so John. I got to ask you one question before we dive in here too much. So if you go to BGG and you go to your designer page,
yeah,
there's a picture of you wearing a what best could be described as a Indiana Jones / Jesse James cowboy look thing going on. So what's the background on that? And hold on, I will screen share this so everybody else can actually recognize what I'm looking at here. Hold on. There we go. So I'm going to share that, and then so there's John looking like he's ready to rustle up some cows or something. What's going on?
That's probably. I think I'm 18 there. Looking 30 because everyone thought I was 30 when I was 18. That's in the background there is Mount Whitney, which is, if you know anything about mountains in America, that's the tallest mountain in the 48 connected states. That was probably taken around 6 a.m. We were actually hiking up the backside of the mountain at the end of a 9-day backpacking trip. So that's probably 1.5 miles to 2 miles from the top. We did the rest of the hike that day, and then came back down the other side and ended up. That was our last day. It was a 16-mile day. So when I'm not board gaming or rooting for my baseball teams or doing my day job, I like to spend as much time in the mountains as possible.
That's cool. So I mean, why do you put a picture up there when you're 18 as your
Because look at that picture, Lance. You'd put that picture up if you had that picture.
Yeah. So I should probably change it, but I just really like that picture. Right. That's my alter ego. Right. Like I live in LA. Right. But like the best moments of my life have either happened while pitching back in the glory days, like we talked about last time we talked, Lance.
Yeah.
Designing games when a game really clicks, or hiking to the top of a mountain. So
That's cool, man.
I don't have the same studio you guys do. Hold on 1 second. I'm getting a okay, we're good. I don't have the same studio, so I'm in my bedroom, so I may have to turn the camera off.
Ooh la la.
But no, that can be interpreted the wrong way. But this room will have to be used by people behind me at some point. So
no, that's fair. It can't be nearly as bad as when well, and to be fair, it's happened to me as well. But when
my wife yells at me,
when your wife, Anthony's been on when all of a sudden like his wife will come in, you can't see her, but she's like, "You need to be quiet in here," and he's just like,
Yeah. My wife should be home from work soon.
So okay, so we have a crowd of people. We have a dozen and a half people watching us live. So if they have any questions for you, they can fire away. If you want, I mean, a lot of the stuff about Downfall, they can find out from the podcast that we did. It's live on playtmg.com. You can go check that out. But if anybody's got any questions about Downfall or just questions for John, they can definitely ask away. Otherwise, so I mean, John, we're about ready to hit stretch goal number 2. I saw we were just under 80K. So
yeah, we're like what are we? We are
$854.
Yep, almost there.
So yeah, so it's been we funded. So how does that feel, man? This is your baby. This is like the game, like as you said, that you've been. This is the first big design, and it's not an if anymore. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, so I've said it before. Of the games I've designed, Downfall, specifically at 6 players, is my favorite game that I've designed. Right? It's the game I am most excited to pull off the shelf and play of my designs, specifically at 6 players. So like Mystic Vale is my favorite 2-player that I've designed. Right? Edge of Darkness at 3 and 4 players I really like that game. At 6 players, Downfall is my favorite overall, though, right? Because I love that sort of epic feel, the pace, the groans of agony of the hard decisions, like all around the table, and it. I am glad that it's finally getting out there. It's been a long road for this one.
But not until you actually have your copy in your hand, right? And then you'll really believe that it's happening, or what?
So that is the moment I am most looking forward to, right? Is when I actually get to play with that final copy, with with the good art, the fancy bits.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, hey, super fan of the Alaboom, Kabuki Kid asked, "What is the game that John started with the kid? What are you looking back as a kid? What was like the first board game you can remember playing that like was the game or whatever?"
Oh, not my first design. My first game that got me into gaming.
Well, no, it's a 2-parter. What is the first game you played as a kid? Like you can remember, like
the first game I can ever remember playing. I don't think I have a specific answer for that.
Well, just give us an idea, like as a kid when you because every kid's parents had the cupboard with games in it, right?
Yeah. What's the name of that? What's the name of that game where it was a 2-player game? Each player, you had a little board and there was faces, and
Guess Who?
I would Guess Who? Yeah.
Guess Who? Okay,
That's the earliest game I can remember playing.
What? Hey, a lot of people play Guess Who, and I still play Guess Who. I Guess Who. I played that with my kids many times. The trick is,
it's a great kids game. It's a great.
Oh,
kids
it is, and because it also teaches them probability. Like you never ask the question, like when there's 4 people with glasses, you never say, "Do you have glasses?" Because like it doesn't help you. No. Oh, great, I get rid of 4 people.
You start with the is it a boy or a girl, right? That immediately takes down half of them, right?
Yeah. And then you got to make sure you don't pick a person with glasses, because if they do ask that question, do you have glasses? Yes. Oh, they got 4 to pick from. I'm done. I'm not going to win.
Right.
But all right. So what was the game that brought you into the modern board gaming hobby?
Magic the Gathering was the first game I probably played a lot. That was what would be considered a hobby market game. I don't know if it's what got me into the hobby so much, though. I kind of was probably pre-inclined to do it. I mean, I was designing games when I was 8 years old. They weren't good games, but I was, I had fun doing it. In college is when I started getting introduced to more games that I hadn't seen before. So I played Citadels for the first time. I played Diplomacy. Played Settlers, Ticket to Ride, and then after college, in part in the endeavor to try to design games with the goal of getting them published, I did a lot of sort of research into game communities in LA and ended up at Strategicon, which is a local con. Joined a few game groups, a few design groups, and then at that point I was deep in, right?
Yeah. Well, Anthony, you interview people. Ask John a question.
Oh, put me on the spot.
Yeah, Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony, come on. I've already done my interview with him. Come on, Anthony.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a question that people want to know about. Mystic Vale.
Yeah.
So where did you actually start with that? Like with the idea of the whole card crafting concept?
Yeah, so some people may have heard this before. Mystic Vale, so Edge of Darkness, which is a game that is essentially done. I'm making some expansion content for it now, and that's going to be on Kickstarter from AEG, most likely in February.
This is a TMG content.
It's all pertinent to the question, though. So, that was actually the first card crafting game I came up with. I started so that where did the original idea came from? I specifically wanted to design. I wanted to come up with an idea that would be at the core of a game that was really unique, right? And I was like, so I'm a no-name designer. I would like to, I want to try to do something. The best way that I'm gonna have success is to do something that's really different, right? And this doesn't usually work, but literally, I was on a walk in my neighborhood, literally just brainstorming through different things that I thought could be really unique. So I kind of went down the path of thinking, what are different components that are used in games that have either never been really used in a certain way before, or could you use them in a new way? So like, could you use dice in a completely different way that's ever been used before, or the game box or something, right? And when I landed on card sleeves, could you use card sleeves in a completely, what occurred to me was no one's actually ever had a game where you couldn't play the game if you didn't have card sleeves, right? And that's actually where the idea came from, was what would a game look like if you needed card sleeves in order to play it. And the first few iterations of the prototype I came up, the first game didn't even have transparent cards. And it wasn't till a few rounds into the, scrapping one prototype, starting another, that it occurred to me, like, if I combined transparent cards with card sleeves, then you really got something cool going on there that people could get excited about. And from there, the design started working. It ended up being Edge of Darkness, which I then later decided, okay, there's a lot of design space here. Let me try to design something lighter than Edge of Darkness, and a little bit more gateway style game. And then that ended up being Mystic Vale.
Very cool. Yeah, it's very. That's the one thing you got a lot of accolades on, like most innovative game the year Mystic Vale came out, because it was something that a couple of other games had used, like the see-through card thing where you can build cards on top of it, but not quite in the same way that Mystic Vale does. So there was a game called
Gloom.
Gloom did it, but like there was a game that came out at Gen Con a couple years, Radikai
from Spin Master,
right? Yep. Where it used the cards had like the characters on it, but then they had parts of it that were see-through, and you could stack them on top of each other. And when that game came out, everyone was like raving about how cool and different it was. And turned out it didn't really go anywhere. But yeah, so I was wondering, because it's like one of those things that you look at and go, wow, like how do you even like start on there? But now obviously now we have.
Yeah, I think the innovation that made it work for me was the sleeves, right? Because transparent cards are really cool, right? Like if you talk about Gloom, it's one of the things that makes that game really cool and fun is the tactical element of laying, or tactile element and visual of laying the cards on top of each other. But functionally, it's not really all that different than playing a card that places modifying tokens on a card, right? It doesn't really function all that differently than that.
Right.
So it doesn't really open up that much design space just using transparent cards, more than a card that places a token on something, right? Magic the Gathering had enchant creatures, right, which could have been overlay cards, right? It doesn't open up a lot of design space, but once you combine it with the ability to actually sort of permanently modify a card, such that card can retain all the properties of being a card, but so it can be shuffled, it can be dealt, drafted, it can be discarded, right? And it keeps that modification. That's what really opens up a lot of design space, or at least that's what I've found.
Hey, we got a question from Kabuki Kid again. What color mage are you?
What color mage am I?
Yeah, from Magic.
Oh, yeah. My favorite deck to play was an every color deck. And then after that, I liked playing red-green. Big. I would go. I had a deck that was big mana. It would lay out a bunch of elves, get a lot of mana, drop some big creatures, and then in the process, basically back up for a 2 red and X, and just that was the finishing blow for 2 red and X damage. Yeah.
All right. And what is the most Ameritrashy game that you enjoy?
Ameritrashy game. I'm not big on dungeon crawls. I enjoy them, but they're not sort of my favorite games. I like TI. I enjoy TI. If TI had the economy of Eclipse, the combat system of Downfall, and the politics of TI, I guess, that would be a 4X I'd really like.
All right.
Yeah.
And then do you have a Grail game by any chance? And if you have a Grail game, are you going to use your lucrative Downfall check to buy it for yourself?
I don't think I have a Grail game. Yeah, I don't. There isn't some old classic game that I'm dying to get.
That's good, because you don't have a lucrative check coming either.
Yeah. The board game design department is not the most, exploding with cash.
Exploding with cash. I like that.
Let me tell you what I think is awesome about Downfall. is the fact that the rest of your catalog is all in that card building thing, and you have something that I'm very excited about. I backed it,
Nice.
but it's not like, oh, John is a one-trick pony. He's just gonna make games with cards that you put together, and that's what he's gonna do. It's like, the fact that it's something different, and this game has been around for a while. I saw the box at Gen Con, was it 2 years ago, Lance?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, so it's not like, oh, yeah, this is what John does. And I know, people are like, oh, John, what's your next one? We need another one.
So my first 6 games are going to be actually all pretty wildly different from each other. The first game I sold was a game called Rumble Pie, way back in 2012 that no one's ever heard of. It was a little party real-time battle card game, mostly directed at kids. The next game I sold was actually Downfall, so this gigantic 4X, right, sort of epic feeling main event type game, which is my personal favorite style of game. Right, then you had Edge of Darkness, which was like a medium weight Euro that was the first card crafting game. And then, of course, once I had the card crafting idea, I was like, there's a lot of design space here, and I'm the only designer currently exploring it. So that gives me sort of a, when I'm competing against a lot of other really good designers to get games picked up, right? That gives me a selling point, right? So I was like, I'm going to keep exploring that space. So Mystic Veil was like your gateway style light deck builder, right? My next game that's going to come out is actually a dice game. It's sort of a Machi Koro style dice game, but with a deeper level of engine building and decision making. And then, not to say anything bad about Machi Koro, I like that core mechanic, and I wanted to make something with a little bit deeper decisions. And then I've got a dexterity gun shooting game is the one following that. So they're all pretty different.
Very cool.
Kabuki Kid also asked, do you have any role-playing game experience?
I don't. I would like to play a role. I played a role player for like a day when I was a teenager. I enjoyed it. I'm more the analytical strategy type than the storytelling type. But I enjoy the storytelling stuff. So I could certainly enjoy a role player. I don't know if I could. The reason why I haven't got into one is I can't, the time commitment to doing one. I don't know if I would enjoy it enough to want to commit that much time to it.
Fair enough. Let's see. People seem to be very impressed with how diverse your designing is. Did Mystic Veil start out with a different theme, or different themes considered during the design process?
Yes. The original. Sometimes I start with themes. So Downfall's an example of where I had an image of a game I wanted theme-wise, right? And then I tried to design a game towards that. Mystic Veil was where I had a mechanic, and I just made a game that worked well with that mechanic, or sought to do that, right? And then we thought out on the back end what themes make sense with this. Originally, it was like a farming type of theme, which isn't too different than where it ended up, where sort of you're building out your own little sort of farm, right? And that represents your deck, and you're adding things to your lands, and you have to deal with essentially bad weather, which is your spoilage, right? The other theme that was discussed that was actually on my prototype was everyone had like a little fiefdom type of thing, and the decay represented unrest, where people, or your citizens, if you push too much, if you push them to work too hard, they'd get upset, and every now and then they'd revolt, and you would lose your turn if you push them too hard. The game had a fairly peaceful, there's no combat in it, right? It's a very sort of relaxing feeling game. So we ultimately decided that sort of a naturey, happy druids trying to cleanse the land felt sort of like the feel of the game, right? You're peacefully building up the lands and bringing life back to your deck, type of thing.
All right, I have a question about one of your games. So, Edge of Darkness, the cube tower.
Yeah,
that thing is insane. I actually saw the prototype one at Gen Con.
Gen Con?
How
Yeah.
hard was it to get them in on that? Like, I know you see it and you're like, wow, it's cool, and then you sit there and go, wow, what's this going to cost to make?
So the prototype one you saw at Gen Con was very prototypey. It's not going to be the final one. That was just sort of one they had quickly designed so that we could use it for prototypes. The final one will don't quote me on this. It will probably be cardboard in the retail version with a deluxe option in the Kickstarter for a plastic one. That may change. That's what they're currently thinking. And it will fit in the box better than that giant one you saw at Gen Con.
Yeah.
But the goal is to make it look. The goal is to make it look really cool, and fit in the box. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, for anyone who doesn't know what they're talking about, so there's this apparatus where there's cards that are placed on the bottom of it, and then cubes get dropped from the top, and they come out and they get dispersed over the 3 cards that get laid out in some random order. You don't know it. It's like a Plinko machine inside, basically, and the base of the number of cubes that come on each card, that's when different things will trigger from it. I didn't get to play. I just watched people playing it, but it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, AEG had no intention of saying, well, maybe we could remove this and cut on cost. They were like, no, this part's really fun. We just need to figure out how to make it work.
Cool. Spooky Kid wants to know if you are getting tired of the downfall / Hitler jokes.
Oh, I haven't heard. Nobody's sent me too many of those. I've actually never seen that movie, though I've definitely seen plenty of the YouTube, dubbings of it, but or subtext.
And then the final one of the just out there. What's your favorite novel?
Lord of the Rings.
Favorite movie?
Easy. Shawshank Redemption.
Favorite TV show?
Game of Thrones.
And favorite breakfast cereal?
Well, so certainly most common breakfast cereal is breakfast cereal. Breakfast food is cereal. Was the question breakfast food or breakfast cereal?
Breakfast cereal.
Specifically cereal.
Yeah.
Favorite breakfast cereal. That's hard. That's a tough question. Maybe Wheat Chex.
Ooh, I like Wheat Chex.
Yeah.
Wheat Chex are really good. Like at the very beginning, they're all crunchy, and then they're good right before they get mushy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're no good. They're no good mushy. You don't want to serve yourself a huge bowl. You want to do 2 small bowls.
Yeah.
Right?
So, but there's that moment where they aren't crunchy anymore, but they're still good. But they're still rigid. But you need to get them quick before they get mushy, and that's when they're the best.
Right.
There's that moment. Unlike Captain Crunch, Captain Crunch, you have to eat you have to have very small bowls of Captain Crunch always, because if Captain Crunch loses any of its consistency, it's not nearly as good. Have you ever read the book?
Oh, actually, so I would add to that really good granola.
Oh.
So there's some granolas that are not so good, right? But really good granola is maybe some of the best.
There's a fantastic book that I've told anybody who'll listen that need to read. It's called Cryptonomicon, and it's by Neil Stevenson, who is one of my favorite writers. A lot of the stuff he's written is amazing. He's kind of a really weird, wacky genius. But Cryptonomicon is a story that takes place in both present day and World War II. and it's about code breaking and like there's characters like descendants of the World War II characters that are, you know, and so you're kind of following both storylines. And there's like an entire like 6 pages or maybe that's more like 2 or 3 pages of a chapter are devoted to this one main character talking about how like the perfect way to eat Captain Crunch, and how the cereal has to be like the cereal has to be like, you know, like you open up the box and then like you have to pour out like a certain amount, and then you have to the milk has to be like just a hair a hair less than freezing, like so it's like just super cold. And if like and the character said if he could come up with a way that would actually like inject the milk into the Captain Crunch as he was putting it into his mouth, that would be like the perfect, because like you want to make sure the Captain Crunch is like cold because of the milk, but also hasn't lost any of its consistency at all, you know. And it's like, you know, so yeah, Captain Crunch, good stuff. Yeah, anyway, yeah, but I can't yeah, there you go. So it's like you want to yeah, I agree with you on the wheat checks though. Very few people like the wheat checks. My wife thinks I'm crazy.
Love the wheat checks.
She's like, "Why are you eating that?" It's like, "Cause it's good. It tastes amazing." Yeah. And then like,
I'm a big fan of the. I don't even know what they're even called. They had the one that was corn on one side and rice on the other.
Crispix. and now you can buy the knockoff stuff of that. That's really good. See, I'm not big. I mean, I just went off on Captain Crunch. I'm not really big on sugary cereal. It just it doesn't really hit me. But I will enjoy a bowl of Golden Puffs. You know, like the
like the Honey Smacks.
Yeah, the Honey Smacks. Yeah.
Oh, I hate those.
Yeah,
Puff rice is disgusting.
Oh no, the puff rice with that sugary coating. That's good stuff. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Golden Grams.
Golden Grams.
Golden Grams are probably my favorite sweet cereal, but yeah. I can't have like too many bowls in a row. They get a little too sweet. But
I'll actually just buy Golden Grams and eat them dry with a cup of coffee.
Yeah, Golden Grams dry are actually a really good. I'm actually annoyed because
we got 2 more on downfall. We are $600 short of 80. I would love to get to 80 before midnight.
That'd be cool.
Day two, make it to the second stretch goal. That'd be nice.
Yeah, we'll hit it. No,
I know. I'm sure we'll hit it.
Hey, you're stepping on my touchdown call about breakfast cereals now, John. So just be quiet.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. So,
hey, honeycomb.
Honey. No, I'm not a big fan of honeycomb. Honeycomb's big. Yeah. It's
I enjoy them.
No. Remember, like all of those were. I'm a big lumberjack and I need a big cereal. And then I was like, show you that like honeycomb and they put the ruler next to it. Yeah, the tape measure. I just like, whoa. But anyway, so I remember like when I was a kid, Frosted Mini Wheats, they came in a long they weren't like all the spoon size Mini Wheats. They came in a they were like maybe like a 2-inch or 3-inch wheat.
They came like a cracker box, like a cookie box.
Yeah, exactly. And that was my favorite cereal because they weren't. And now, I mean, I still really enjoy Frosted Mini Wheats, but they come in. They're all in that spoon size. And actually, what I actually probably enjoy more than Frosted Mini Wheats is I like having like the non-frosted ones. Like you'll find like just the wheat squares, like shredded wheat, but shredded wheat squares, and then I'll like put a little bit of honey on top of them. Those are good. Those are tasty. Good stuff. My kids are now into my son found out about we were, because it's Halloween, he saw the Count Chocula box and he saw that it would like the big thing that says turns your milk into chocolate milk, and so he's just all about the Count Chocula, so he can eat so he can drink chocolate milk after he's done eating it. But I don't know, it's marketing.
Yeah, we never had those things as kids.
What?
When I was a kid, like we had Cheerios, Raisin Bran, cornflakes.
I like Raisin Bran. I really like Raisin Bran. I don't know what
Raisin Bran's great.
I liked Raisin Bran because it was the only cereal my mother bought that had sugar in it.
See, and the weird thing about Raisin Bran is, and I might be really weird here because I really like cereal. The weird thing about Raisin Bran is like that's okay when it gets mushy because when you spoon some up, it's like you'll find the raisins in the middle. And it's kind of like little surprises. So like you get a spoonful of like the bran mush and you put it in your mouth and you're like, ooh, a raisin. You're just like, ooh, that was kind of nice. It's like and that's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's like my son will also like have like I don't know. Do you guys have the big bags of cereal, like basically the multi-meal stuff?
Yes.
So like, and it's all the same stuff, but it's different names. I forget what the
Fruitios.
Well, no, the Lucky Charms is it's called something. It's like oh man, I know what it is too. Like Colossal Berry Crunch is the Captain Crunch with berries, like the Berry Crunch. Is like
it's all knockoff brands. Yeah.
Marshmallow Mateys is what the Lucky Charms version is, and like he'll get that, and I'll watch him as he's like picking out the marshmallows and eating those. I was like, just eat the whole thing. You're not gonna. Yeah. It just infuriates me that he won't. But as a kid, that's what life's about, right? It's about the marshmallows. And with the Count Chocula stuff, all of those things come with marshmallows now. Before they didn't. For the longest time, it was just Count Chocula. It was just like Cocoa Pebbles or something like that. But then they were added marshmallows, and he'll finish off all the marshmallows, but the other stuff is left behind. Yeah, Honey Nut Cheerios also a good choice. Not those are tasty. It's weird when you get older. It's like, like Saturday is like the day that I usually cook breakfast for the family. So I'll like make like French toast or something. But then I'll get done. I'll get done cooking like bacon and eggs and French toast for everybody, and then I'll just have a bowl of cereal. They're like, "Why aren't you eating this?" I was like, "I don't want that. I just want to eat a bowl of Raisin Bran, because that's what I want, and it's tasty." It's good. Come on, Anthony, ask him another question. You're good at this stuff.
Why? This is your show.
I know, but I already asked him all these questions when I had him on the TMG podcast.
You asked him about something else. It'll all be about games.
No, I know, but I was going to ask you. So you're a big baseball fan? Are you a football fan?
I watch the Super Bowl.
For the commercials?
No, I watch the game. I'm not one of those people who watch the Super Bowl just for the commercials. I pay attention to the playoffs. I'll check now and then, what the standings are during the regular season. But I don't know who's winning what right now. Right? I assume the Patriots are good.
No,
actually, they're not. They're
no. That's good to hear.
They're 500 team right now.
That's good to hear.
They'll figure it out like they always do, but right now they're a 500 team.
And even the games
I enjoy watching football. I used to watch more when I was when I was a teenager and I lived at home and I would watch with my dad. But I never cared enough about any particular team to go out of my way to watch it. So I'll watch the playoffs, and I always watch the Super Bowl.
So where in New York are you from originally?
Manhattan. I was born in a hospital in Queens. We lived in a small apartment in Manhattan for my parents. My parents met in New York in an acting class, actually. And we moved to LA when I was 2 years old.
Okay.
I'm waiting for somebody else to ask a question or what have you. Are you going? What's the next gaming convention you're going to?
I will be at Board Game Geek Convention.
Right. So are you gonna? You're gonna have I'm assuming you're gonna have one of our protos, and you're gonna be teaching people how to play Downfall for fun skis.
So I can certainly do that at the booth. upon occasion. Yeah. I am going to Board Game Geek Con to have fun. This is unlike Gen Con. My plan is to enjoy the trip, but the good thing is I enjoy playing Downfall, so I would happily play that multiple times that week with people who want to play. Especially if I can play with the prototypes that you guys have that are going to be closer to final than my old scrappy prototype.
Old trustworthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our goal is to have like a closer one that's going to have like some of the more
thicker bits and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, by then. But I don't know if we're going to be able to pull that off. We might just end up having not that the ones we're having or whatever are bad or anything like that. It's just it's one of those things where we're trying to make sure that I don't know. It's like making sure that like we just have a decent enough copy. Is this your first BG Con, or have you been to more?
No, I've gone. This will be my third or fourth. Yeah. No, my fourth. Yeah, 4th year in a row.
Yeah.
Yep. The first BGG Con I went to is when I pitched Downfall to Seth and Michael.
Yeah.
It was there that they played Downfall for the first and second time, 2 days back to back. And then the day after the con, Michael messaged me and he's like, "So we really enjoyed Downfall and really want to do it." And I was like, "Great!" I wasn't expecting that because so after they wanted to play it the second time, then I was like, "Okay, they must like this game." But you know how Michael's like super hard to read, right?
No.
So the day after I got the message, and I was like, "All right, great! Like that's not a classic Tasty Minstrel game, but Michael's, both of them seem to really enjoy it." So
yeah, I like BGG Con. I think it's fun.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
But yeah, what do you do? I don't know. I just anything else? Yeah, what's the last game you played that wasn't something that you made?
Ad Astra.
Really?
Really?
What? I mean, that's a. When did you play that?
A week ago.
Yeah.
I love that game. I mean, it's on my shelf, and I had people over to play test. We also played Bunny Kingdom that day, which is a new one.
What you think of Bunny Kingdom?
I love Bunny Kingdom. It's a relaxing, enjoyable, silly little drafting game. Yeah.
Yeah. But Ad Astra, I mean, that's like just kind of out there. I mean, it's one of Bruno Faidudi's.
I love Ad Astra.
Oh, it's a fun game.
Yeah, I love that game. Yeah, I mean, it's on my shelf, and it's one of my go-to games at the end of a night of play testing, and everyone's like, "We want to play something with some interesting choices, but not super meaty." I'm like, "How about Ad Astra?"
Out of print for a long time. Is this something?
Yeah, I know. I hope it
coming
gets
back or something. I for some reason I thought it was being reprinted.
If it is, I haven't heard.
I keep hearing that it's going to, and it never happens.
Yeah,
it's a great game.
Because I had it and then I sold it.
Yeah.
For a pocket full of dreams, right?
No, I sold it for a good price. But
for 7 cents on the dollar. Yeah, that's what happens though in like your you always end up selling the stuff and then you're like, oh, that was gonna be worth something. And you're just kind of annoyed.
Yeah, well, you never know.
I've put a moratorium on my game collecting. I will no longer buy games. With exceptions, of course. I will almost always avoid buying games now unless I've played them. Just because I still live in a not particularly large apartment, which I share with my wife and sister, so the space is limited.
That's a good idea. I haven't played Downfall. Cancel my pledge.
Yeah, right. Everyone who's listening is like, "Oh, I haven't played Downfall yet." All right, following that advice.
Nice.
If I had a bigger space, like in the hopefully not too distant future, I will definitely increase my collection, and that restriction can be lifted.
I am in the process of paring down my collection, like incredibly. But I'm trying to just basically get it to about 80, like 20% of what it is, just because like I too many games that I never play, and it's just like, why do I even own these? This is dumb, And we've had a discussion about that at length about.
Well, you used to do a lot of reviewing, right? And you still do some.
Yeah, I still do some.
How much of that? How many of those games would you keep?
Well, it's just, I mean, even if the game's awesome, it's just like, I'm just looking over here at games. I mean, there's some games that I know I'm not going to play anytime soon that I just got to keep. Like Matt Garrett's is like one of my favorite designers. I have no idea when I'm going to play Antique again, but I'm not going to get rid of it, just because I know that I really like it, right? But I'm looking over here and I'm just looking at stuff that's in front of me, and like, I'm looking at games like Peloponnese. I'm looking at games like Duel of Ages. Stuff that like, that are good games. But I mean, it's like, when am I going to play them? Probably never. So why do I have them?
So what you're articulating is the challenge for publishers and designers these days. There are so many good designers selling really good games to publishers that really know how to make a good product. We're competing in a really high quality market right now.
But I think the weird thing is that everybody buys everything, right? And they play it for 3 times and then they try to get rid of it. I mean, that's just kind of like the world we're in now. I mean, I think we're running into now people like realize that like back in the day, like back in the day on BGG, like they had this thing that's like, how big is your game collection? And like you got like and having like over 300 games was just ridiculous. Now like 300 games is kind of like, oh, what are you, like some new person in the hobby? I mean, it's just like
so I think people have been in the hobby for a long time. This would be my interpretation. People have been in it for a while and have a pretty sizable collection, are becoming pickier. In the market at the same pace it is because those people are still buying games, but they're pickier, and we're still adding, and at a fast rate, we're adding new gamers to the market. Essentially, new people are realizing board games is a really fun, like that there's a lot of quality games out there, and that this is a great way to spend time with friends, right? And there's an increasing number of people who are playing games and becoming customers, which is maintaining the growth and the reason why there's so many indie publishers that can now make a good game and sell it, even though there's the bigger publishers also making great games, right? And as long as we keep adding new people to the market, the industry can keep growing. But I have seen at least with my gamer friends who have substantial collections, there's a slightly increasing pickiness. It's people aren't quite as quick to click the button anymore without having played it first, or there's more of that, like, only one person in my game group needs to buy the game type of thing.
Gotcha. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just it makes no sense to have as many as you do, and unless you're like part of this like dedicated playing the games like all the time. I mean, it's just like I think there's at a certain point there's like a certain amount of prestige to like owning a bunch of stuff, and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. But then eventually, I don't know, you just kind of get past it, and then you're just like, I need to,
Well, yeah. So there's a certain satisfaction to being the guy that has the new hot games, and everybody wants to play the games that you have, right? There's like, okay, oh, now he's at the game night. Great. Now all the good new games are here, right? And everybody's like, did you bring this? Did you bring that? Right? There's certainly some utility gained from that.
You also run out of space. That's what you do. You hit that.
That's my problem. That's my
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, I mean, I've run out of space, and it's just it's just dumb.
That's one of the things video games has on board games.
Yeah, and like video games are like now, like especially like you just download them, right? Yeah, I mean like all of the the networks and everything, yeah, I mean it's just like you can play you can like PlayStation Network, you buy the game, you download it, and then I need to open up some space. You can delete it, but you save your games on the cloud or whatever, and then you can always just re-download it again if you want to keep playing it or whatever. You have access to that for the rest of your life. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's just weird, and it's kind of like it's just like they always used to say like pop will eat itself or something like that. In a weird way, I think we're at this point where I think like board game collecting is just to collect. And back in the day, and I've said this before, it's like 8-9 years ago, you could say to yourself, I could feasibly own like the 10 like this year I could buy like the 15 board games that everybody should own, right? You could have that mentality. But now it's like there's just no way. There's no way to know exactly what you should buy or what you should own or what you should grab. It's just there's just too much. And I don't know. It's crazy. But that's just my opinion, if you will. It's not a bad thing. I mean, obviously we got all, like you said, it's like there's all these people that are publishing all these things, and they're all really, really amazing.
So as a customer, it's a good problem to have, right? There are too many good products for me to buy all of them, and if you want to just stick to, only the things coming out of the big publishers, right? And you just shoot in the dark. Most of the time, you're going to hit a good game now, right? You'll miss the little gems that are coming from the indie publishers, right? But if you want to also, if you're interested in the indie games, right? There's so many of them that are coming out that are really good now, also.
Yeah.
As a consumer, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I don't know. It's well, and I would even argue in a certain degree that it isn't really a good problem to have as a consumer. I mean, it's just like, you always feel like you're missing out on something, right?
Yeah, and then you have the whole, I want this game, but if I buy this game, I won't be able to buy this other game that may come out in a month that I haven't heard about yet.
Sure. So maybe I should clarify, for the purely rational, non-emotional consumer, it's a good problem to have. But
all 6 of you.
Yeah, as we learn in behavioral economics, too much choice actually makes you less satisfied with the choice you make, right? So
because you're always
too many options make the final choice you make less satisfying.
Because you always assume that you made the wrong choice, or what?
Right. It's the more other options there were, the more you're going to think that you might have made the wrong choice, right? Or the more odds there are that you didn't pick the best game, right? If 10 games come out in a year and you randomly pick one, right, you have a 10% chance of getting the best game that came out, right? If 10,000 games came out and you picked one, right, there's a good chance you didn't get the best one. Even if you got a great game, right? Maybe of those 10,000 games, you got the one that was the 9,000th best, and it was better than, the best game that came out 10 years ago. But you might not be as satisfied with it, type of thing.
Yeah. Oh, the times we live in, the problems that the problems.
Yes, us poor board gamers with too many good games to choose from.
Yes.
All right, I'd love to stick around to the.
No, I was just
80,000
gonna
mark.
say we should probably. It's getting late, and my eyes are bugging out on me as it is. I should go to bed.
Well, thank you guys for having me
No.
on.
No, and the reason I say that is because I got LASIK yesterday, so my eyes.
Oh, you did?
No, you didn't. You got.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got PRK, which is like,
What
but
is
I
that?
got laser. It's it's LASIK. I'll do the quick version.
Oh, I'm going. Yes.
No,
I
no,
told Kabuki I didn't want to hear the story again.
LASIK cuts open the eye. They cut a
Good
flap
night.
and they do it. PRK actually just does a shaving over the cornea, and so PRK is just like it's laser corrective surgery. It's just a different kind. Regardless, it's like my eyes are drying out, and I'm kind of going crazy. So,
Sure.
but no, you'll have to every Wednesday night we do this. So like as long as the camp and anytime you want, not just when Downfall is going on, you should come on and just BS with people, man. You can
Sure.
talk about climbing the
Yeah.
mountain. I'd love to hear the stories about about climbing the mountain and how you get up there and do
Sure.
your thing.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Anthony, thanks for hanging out. And yeah, Anthony's got something he wants to tell everybody up before we get out of here.
All right, so a lot of podcasts do their fundraisers. They do their Indiegogo or their Patreon or their Kickstarter or so on and so forth. So since I do things a little crazy, I'm actually going to do a 24-hour telethon. So in December, I don't have the date set yet, but I'll let everyone know. I'm going to be on YouTube for 24 straight hours, talking to people all over the world. I've already have some publishers and designers from Europe who are going to be coming on and joining me. So yeah, I'll let you know when it's going to happen. But Lance, I'm sure will pop on.
Yeah,
some point?
I'll bother you at some point. Are you gonna towards the end like Jerry Lewis, like have the tie undone and be like
And a cigarette in my hand and like,
yeah.
all right, let's see, we did it.
What's your caffeine of choice to make it through that?
I regular straight coffee.
There you go. All right.
I'll do a couple
school.
5-hour energies probably. The
Okay.
other guys
All right.
from
You
the
do use some of the
podcast-
new stuff.
Yeah, the other guys from the podcast will be letting me take breaks to go, to the bathroom and whatnot. But no, 24 hours.
Oh, that's cheating.
I will be on talking. I am allowed to pee.
Well, that's what your travel buddy's for, Just you know what I mean? A little funnel and just
I need to take breaks to go and pee and smoke. So,
okay. All right. Well, John, thanks a lot for coming on, man.
Yeah, you bet.
If anybody wants to reach out to you and ask you a question about Downfall, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Twitter or BGG probably. In both cases, it's just John D. Clare, no spaces.
And the D stands for dinosaur?
Yeah, you got it.
Awesome. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right.